Okay, we are live.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Hacks Chats. And we're Hacks. We have Taylor here, Taylor Grosso.
Hi everyone, we're Hacks in Hack Shack Studios, and we're chatting today, and I'll be reading your chats if you want to join the conversation.
Yes, and I am Art Thibert, a 35-year comic book veteran of this wacky industry that we know and love. Mainly worked for Marvel and DC, but I kind of departed Marvel at some point and helped a fledgling upstart company called Image Comics at some point, and made some kooky comics. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit. I'm gonna draw a little bit. Taylor's got some news stories she'd like to share with you, and we got a little special. Like there's one thing that's really cool about being a comic book artist and doing what Taylor and I do is sometimes you get asked to do things that are outside of the norm, and so we got a little special treat here for you guys. So whenever you want to do you want to do it now, or do you want to wait for people to come in? Or?
Let's do it now. I'm hyped if you are. We got 5 people here.
Well, that's not enough. We need hundreds of people. All right, you guys, tweet out right now. Say Art and Tag got a very special Hacks Chat. What would you call this? Just a special little fun.
A surprise.
Surprise. Yeah, there's a lot of drama right now with comics and what we're doing here with the CG stuff. And so we thought we'd try to do something a little different, a little lighter, a little fun.
Something wholesome.
What do we call this? A no drama zone?
Yeah, the no drama zone.
And what about your mama?
You gotta leave it with her. You gotta leave the drama with your mama.
With your mama. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're just gonna have fun. I mean, if you guys want to ask questions, we'll do our best to answer them about some stuff that's going on. But mainly, we're just gonna draw and hang out with you guys. So do we have more than 5?
I think we have 7 people.
All right. Once we get to what should we say, 8?
When we hit that 8th person, it's going to get crazy. Should we tease it?
We're going to reveal. No.
Oh, man.
Yes. Do you have the image? Wait, where's the still image?
I do.
Is that it?
What could it be?
It might have something to do with this dick right here. Do you think he ever got sick of everybody saying those jokes?
I'm sure going through elementary school with that name was quite the experience for him.
Okay.
How innocent.
Yeah, I'll share my first Andy Dick experience, or just when I first found out about him, and then when he was a blip on my entertainment radar, and then you can say yours.
Okay, mine's gonna be really weird.
Okay, mine's weird too. Okay, so do you remember a show in the 60s? It's called Get Smart?
I do.
They tried, I don't know how many years ago this was, but they tried to come out with a new series, Get Smart, right? So it's the same actor that played Maxwell Smart and that played 99.
Ooh.
And so they got married and they got busy and they had a little dick.
Oh, wait, are you serious?
Yeah, Andy Dick was in the show, and it was mainly about him, and he was the son of, I'm not kidding you guys.
I did not know this.
Andy Dick, the actor Andy Dick, was the son of Maxwell Smart and 99. And so, yeah.
In real life?
No, and on the show.
I like to think he really was the offspring of those 2 actors.
I wonder if he probably could have been, right?
I mean, the timing lines up. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
Maybe you're right. So anyways, I thought he was pretty funny. He was a very physical actor. Kind of how Maxwell Smart would always I meant to do that. He'd just fall over and bump into something and, always do something like that. So Andy Dick's a very physical comic. So he would do things like that too. So it was pretty funny. I thought it was okay at the time. I don't think it lasted very long though. So how about you? Where's the first time you...
That's a really strange sell, just as a concept. I think I actually first saw him when he had the show on MTV, and as a child I wasn't meant to be watching it.
The Andy Dick show?
Yeah. I just remember, and I didn't know who he was, and I thought that I think he came on to Howard Stern or something. And I thought that it was a character. I didn't know that was just how he was as a comic. Because I guess it was during that really weird time, the Tom Green era, where they're just comedians basically vlogging before vlogging was a thing. They're kind of sketches, but they're also in the form of being real life.
Reality, yeah.
It was weird. It was reality TV show, but with comedians. Like, there was a lot of comedians that had that show. So I didn't know that was really him. Like, I thought as a kid, I thought he was putting on a voice and everything.
Yeah, he does seem like a caricature, and on some part it is. It is a character that he's playing. I've met the man, outside of the character, and yeah, he's relatively sane, I guess. But you remember, maybe people in chat can chime in. There was a show, I believe it was just called The Ben Stiller Show. Was it on Fox? And Andy Dick was a player with, what's her, Garofalo? What was her?
Janine?
Janine Garofalo. And I think that's how they all kind of got their start.
That is the weirdest combination, by the way.
Yeah, it was a skit show, and it was a skit comedy show. And I believe that he was one of the main players. So it was him, what did you say her name?
Janine?
Janine Garofalo. and Ben Stiller were in it.
Ray Thulu says, yeah, he was a regular on Ben Stiller. And Title says, referring to the picture, he should have worn camo. Now he's a spotted dick.
Have you ever had spotted dick, Taylor?
I have. It's disgusting.
Everything. I'm sorry if there's any British people out there. I don't know, man. Boiled meat and
it comes in a can.
And potatoes. Like, there's just, I don't know. I don't think it's bad, but it's just not really good either.
My
English food.
I agree. I don't like English food. I lost a lot of weight when I spent time in England, and there's still a picture of my little brother, like really little, where he's holding like a gigantic can of spotted dick because my mom thought it was the funniest thing ever. It got old.
Well, I don't know if I want to eat anything with the word spotted or dick. Like, it's just like a bad combination of words. Like, spotted dick. Like, it's not like I don't know. I'm trying to think of some kind of word that would go good with dick.
Chocolate chip cookie.
Chocolate
dick.
chip dick. Or
that
like
sounds hilarious.
Like cheese dick.
You want some cheese dicks?
Or like salty cheese dick. Yeah, maybe there's no way you can.
Why is it even called spotted dick?
Why is there dick in it?
Yeah, like why? It could just be called spotted cake or something.
Or it could just be called potted meat. I guess there is potted meat. You can just buy potted meat.
That's really, yeah.
My wife makes something. It's like chipped beef and gravy, but I think it's canned.
Yes.
It's like, is it canned or is it in a glass container? I don't know.
A jar?
I think it is.
Ew.
I think it's in a jar. Like,
I was gonna say enjoy your meat jelly, but that's really just like gravy.
I don't know if it's called potted meat or if it's chipped meat.
Ray Thulu says, is that shit on a shingle?
That's what my dad called it.
My grandma calls it that too.
My dad called it that. But I don't think my wife calls it that because my wife is very prim and proper. I'm the potty mouth.
Again, do you want to eat something called shit?
On the shingle and wash it down with your
spotted dick.
Your cheddar dick, or what's some of the other things?
Cheddar dick sounds hilarious.
Salty cheddar dick.
Cheddar dick is Brie Larson's brother.
Cheddar Larson.
Is there like
provolone Larson?
There's a lot of food. I'm trying to think of other food that sounds
horrible,
not appetizing.
Like haggis.
Well, remember yesterday, me and Art went and ate Thai food while talking to a producer, and like,
should we talk about our producer lunch?
We could. What was that? Oh my gosh, what was it called? There was a Thai food that was really funny. It was called like Shing Prick or something. And then there was like the Pad Thai Ew. It actually said ew.
There was a Chinese restaurant over by the old studio. It was called China Pink.
Ew.
I know.
Are you sure it was a restaurant?
Yeah, it was not a massage parlor, but it does sound like it would be like a massage parlor, right?
That would be an amazing massage parlor.
You know what? I didn't know. Okay,
China King.
we live up on this hill in Corona, and it's really pretty. It's an upscale neighborhood, but just like all places, there's kind of like juxtaposition of like bad neighborhoods, and so just down in the basin of the hill when you go down, there's kind of like old Corona, and there's this place where it's sports massage, right?
Oh no.
So no, it's actually a great place.
Oh, okay.
And it's called like sports massage. So I was in there, and then I would be a regular there, and I got to know the owner and everything, and it was all above board. And then I went
when
in
you find a good massage place, like you stick with it.
But there's a lot of massage places in that area too, right?
Yeah.
So I never thought about those other massage places because that one is really good. It's legit. And so I went in one day, and there's a camera. There's a camera, Taylor.
Okay.
There's never a camera there before. And there's signs on the wall that say you will be taped and whatever, and that police now make regular scheduled visits so that they can come into your room while you're getting a massage.
That's relaxing.
Yeah. And I was like, what is this about? And she's like, you don't know? I'm like, no. She said the local PD are cracking down on all these massage parlors. I go, what? She goes, all around us. And I go, yeah, they're like yours. And she's like, no, they're not. Like, I felt so naive. Like, I'm a full-on adult, and I'm like, wait a minute. She goes, every one of those massage parlors, except for this one, is like a happy ending massage parlor. And I'm like, no way. How do they still stay open? She goes, well, that's what they're trying to crack down on. And you know what? No success. They're still all there. Like, I always think, like, if you really wanted to close these places down, if you can install, I think she installed the camera though, because she wanted transparency. So I don't think the PD made her do that, but I think she did that just so she could be above board and put the signs up. But I just thought, like, how are these places still open if they can make these raids at any particular, at any moment? Yeah.
If it's really happening on that scale.
So yeah, so we went from spotted dick
to Thai food
to massage parlors. Okay, what else can we cover?
We got Tank Ferret saying Hail Art and tag.
Do we have more than 10 people now?
Oh yeah, we have more than 10 people.
Okay.
One thing I want to say is Tank Ferret says, according to him, there was a place in LA called Poo Ping Palace. Which I think is hilarious.
Do you think they know when they name these places?
Poo-Ping.
Well, what are all those faux? Like, there's a place called Faux Dat. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, it's down the street. It's like Faux Dat. It sounds like some kind of urban slang, right?
Well, apparently it's pronounced pho, but I'll continue to say faux.
No one says pho.
Everybody says pho. I always get corrected.
Dad? Like, is that any
Pho Dad.
Is that any better? Like,
Pho Dad, I would argue, is way more hilarious. Pho Dad.
It sounds like somebody who can't say F that.
That's why it's funny.
Pho Dad. We're just entertaining ourselves at this point.
Oh, God.
Yeah. We told you guys it was going to be fun.
I think we have enough people to get into this was an appropriate, I feel like, intro to
So are we going to keep the drama with our mama?
Yeah, I mean, we can bring a little drama in just about Andy Dick. He's a figure of much drama.
Much controversy.
But yeah, I first found out about him, I guess it was in the late 90s. And I don't know, I didn't know like a whole lot about him because I used to, as a kid, I always confused him with Tom Green. But Tom Green was like way less funny.
Yeah.
Tom Green was like an inferior Andy Dick.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he had any comedic chops, really. He was just
shock value.
Yeah, it was just kind of rude stuff, rude and crude.
Remember he was dating Drew Barrymore?
I thought he married her.
Oh, he did! Gosh, that was weird.
Man, you talk about Drew not really having a clue
I know.
on what's going on.
That's when she started getting sober after she left him.
Right, and do you realize that Drew, she's Hollywood royalty.
I know.
Like the Barrymore family, like dates back to early screen.
And there she was. Good thing they didn't have kids.
Hanging out with Spotted Dick. Spotted Green Dick.
Title says, wasn't he on Spin City?
Spin City. Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Wait, no. It wasn't What was that news program?
News Radio?
With Joe Rogan. He was on that.
Oh, you're right. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. If anybody knows in the chat,
Wasn't he on that show?
he was in a lot of things. He was actually pretty prolific in the like late 90s, early 2000s.
What's that show called? News Radio?
Right through this is News Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Vale Ned disagrees. He says, or she, no, Tom Green is a great performance artist. Andy Dick is a hack. I don't know about that.
Let's leave that in the chat. Okay, 1, Andy Dick, and 2, Tom Green.
Yeah, let us know where you stand. This is the war zone. This is the drama that's coming that we're gonna allow.
Yeah, we're gonna allow this drama.
1 for Dick, 2 for Green.
1 if you want Dick, and 2 if you want Green.
F Google says, where do you guys eat in Corona or Temecula?
Everywhere. We just had like amazing tuna sandwiches my wife made.
They were so good.
Yeah, yours was toasted.
I know. How come yours wasn't?
I don't like toasted.
Really?
Yeah.
But you like grilled food.
I like grilled food. I don't like... You know what? I like tuna melts.
That's why I was surprised.
But that's heated.
And that has like cheese usually, right?
Yeah, melted cheese.
That sounds good.
It does sound good. On the surface, it doesn't sound like tuna would be good with cheese.
Yeah.
But it is.
It is. It's a weird combo.
Would you eat any other fish with cheese?
Ooh, that sounds really gross now that I think about it. Like, I can't imagine eating, like, salmon with cheese.
It doesn't sound good, right?
Tuna's different, though. This sounds dumb, but tuna doesn't taste fishy to me.
Okay, so we should back up now. How many different things have we talked about?
Joshua Hughes votes 0. Ooh, let's see. Cryptic also votes 0. Tank Ferret gives a 2. Vale Ned gives a 2. Hustle King votes 1. So Andy Dick is in the lead. Tied with nobody.
With nobody. Well, I was hoping that, because if we don't get enough votes, can we show this clip?
I mean, we might convert people by showing this clip.
Do we want to convert people, or do we want people to come in already psyched?
I mean, I think they're psyched, but
should
people
I keep teasing it?
Ray says Parmesan is good to mix in on fish.
Parmesan goes with everything, as long as it's Italian.
That's true. Parmesan is good.
Is Parmesan really cheese? You don't have to refrigerate that, right? It comes in a can.
No, we don't have a can one.
Oh, there's different types. There is fresh Parmesan.
Yeah, I get a block one from Portillo's Italian market. It's really good.
All right, another tangent. Okay. Parmesan, right? I used to work at a supermarket when I had a Joe job, and this woman comes up and she goes, "Hello, where's the Parmesan cheese?"
Parmesan?
Parmesan. And I was like,
what the heck?
I don't know what Parmesan cheese is. And she goes, it comes in a can. And I'm like, cheese comes in a can? And I go, like Cheese Whiz or something? And she's like, no, it's not like a can, like a metal can. It's like a cardboard like tube. And I'm like,
that sounds so unappetizing,
I know.
by the way.
And I'm like, I think I know what you're talking about. And so it's not in the, like, they have deli sections, right? I think they might have moved it, so now I think it's slightly refrigerated. But in those days, it was right next to the Cheese Whiz. Like they have crackers. You know how like the crackers and the chip section. For some reason, it's in there. So I was like, "Is this it?" And she's like, "Yeah, Parmesan." And I didn't have the heart to tell her it's not.
I wonder if that woman ever had like the embarrassing moment where she's on like a bad date or something. And she's like, "Can you pass the Parmesan?" And the guy's like, "It's Parmesan," and just put her on the spot.
And then she's like, "Check, I'm getting out of here."
We just got a $2 super chat. Thank you from F Google or Fook Google too.
Hell yeah.
He said, "I just went to some steak place in downtown Temecula."
Oh my gosh.
Downtown Temecula is nice.
Tell me where it's at. Ask him. Well, I can ask him. I got the mic here.
I mean, I still can.
For some reason, I was thinking you're going to type it in. Like, I can't talk to him. He can't hear me. Let me know where it's at. And the question is, do you go, they have a wine festival, right? And they have balloons. They have, like, hot air balloons and a wine festival, right?
I heard it's really cool.
I should take my wife. I should actually do something nice for her.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice.
I heard it's really cool over there. I've only driven through. We've never actually stopped.
I'll drink wine, but she's not a wino. Last time we had wine, I don't know if I should tell the story.
It's okay. She won't hear it till later.
She gets very happy.
Aww.
Yeah, she laughs a lot. I like that.
TJ, I don't like him to drink wine. Sometimes, like, wine drunk makes people scary.
He gets scary?
I don't know.
What's the difference between wine drunk and, like, normal drunk?
Well, like, if you've ever played the South Park game, The Stick of Destiny, the red wine drunk is a real thing. Where, like, Stan's dad gets, like, crazy. Where he's just like, I want my car keys. He's acting all weird. Like, and they're like, oh, no, he's red wine drunk. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, TJ always gets mad at me.
Really?
Yeah.
So, but what is the definition? They're just more argumentative? Or they're, like, docile argumentative? Or
I don't know. He's such a mellow person. But, like, last time he got mad that my friend took his hat. And it went on forever.
Well, he is bald.
He has long, beautiful hair.
He's not bald. He's got a lot of hair. Yeah.
It was not a good night.
I wouldn't say he's beautiful, but he's beautiful.
He is. You don't want to... Like, young Andy Dick is actually very beautiful in this picture.
No, he's... Okay, whatever.
What? You were going to say no?
I always thought, like, that dimple, it's like, it's kind of too up right in the center.
It's too much?
Well, I don't know if it's too much, but usually they're kind of like...
Down?
They're like kind of like more of a cleft, like right here. Like
it is high up, isn't it?
It's right in the center. It's like looking right at me. Like I don't look at his eyes. I just see the dimple.
Look at those long eyelashes, though.
You need to stop.
He would have played a good Doug.
He would have been a good Doug.
Let me see. Parmesan is so old, it's basically the last state it'll be until the heat death of the universe, says David.
Yeah, because... Like, that stuff in the can or in the... You don't have to refrigerate it, right? What is in that stuff?
I like as you put it, because it's true. It's in a cardboard tube.
Like a toilet roll. Like a toilet paper roll, right? Oh, my gosh. I've never thought about I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff in the shaker thing. Yeah. I like fresh Parmesan.
You gotta get it. You gotta get it. And although it sucks, like, if you have people over... You have to already, like, pre-grade it.
Well, I'm going to tell you how spoiled we are here. My wife grades up, like, fresh Parmesan. So when we have, like, meals and stuff, it's all, like,
it makes
graded.
such a big difference. It's way better.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor, you guys.
All right, how many people got in chat? Should we do this?
We got, like, 20 people. Let's do it.
You just want this show over. You want to go home.
Lorenzo just showed up.
Hey, Lorenzo. Now we can do it.
Lorenzo loves Andy Dick.
Now that we have Lorenzo here. So wait, is this overwhelmingly Dick? What's his name? Green got no votes?
You guys need to keep voting whether Andy Dick is the supreme leader or if Green... I can't remember his name. Tom Green.
Green Dick.
I never thought there was any competition between the two. I'm really surprised that one of you stuck up for him.
Until we brought it up.
Like, he disappeared. Andy Dick's still, like... He's not super relevant, but he still has hilarious stories, and he's a constant character in Family Guy skits.
Do you know when he divorced Drew Barrymore, I'm sure he had to sign, like, some kind of release form.
To never, like, talk about it?
Just think of what he cleaned up. Like, he came into that relationship with some money, but she's got the money. So, in the divorce, I'm sure he cleaned up, but I'm sure he had to also sign something where he wouldn't talk about things.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I think he probably went away because he cleaned up on the Barrymore
fortune. He got the Barrymore money. Comic Book Bob just arrived and said, "What fresh hell is this?" And, let's see.
We should call this the fresh hell.
Ooh. And then, Title says, well, Tom Green is now internet-based.
He still has a career?
Does he do, like, vlogging and stuff? Like, I haven't heard of him. I actually completely forgot about him up until now.
He wouldn't be funny unless you could see videos, because he's not a funny talker.
Did you ever see his horrible movie?
No, I didn't want to. I despise the guy from the get-go.
It's so horrible.
If I want to watch jerks and idiots, I'll watch, what is that, those three guys, those four guys that, like, hit each other in the nuts with hammers and...
Oh, we were just talking about, are you talking about Jackass?
Yeah, Jackass. I'll watch that.
Did you, because since everybody here survived the Jackass era, like, did you ever witness people doing dumb stuff like that? Because I remember when that show was huge, like, all of my guy friends trying to start their own stupid, like, Jackass-esque show.
Oh, wait.
Because the internet was just starting and...
We're going off on... We just... Oh, I wonder if Amanda could send us that...
Oh, video. Yeah.
Hey, Amanda!
What?
Can you send to my Facebook Messenger? Can you send that video of that kid? Don't.
Are you trying to repost it?
I want to show it on the show. We're live.
Oh.
That was my daughter.
Tom Green. Oh, I forgot about that. Comic Book Bob says Tom Green is testicular cancer, and Andy Dick is cancer of the ass. You don't want either.
We're talking about dicks and ass.
He might be gone now, but a couple years ago he did the same stuff when MTV was a thing. Wait, he did like a Jackass type show, or you mean like a skit show, or?
I think it's a Jackass. I thought that that's why I was kind of comparing Green with the Jackass guys.
Because he did do pranks, right?
I thought they were like physical. Yeah, that he would also like do stupid things where he get hurt and things like that.
The only one I remember, and I saw it as a very, very small child, and it like stuck with me.
Oh, she said it's sent.
Okay, I'll keep this on the Andy Dick on the screen. That stuck with me is he went to visit his parents, which like doing a prank on your parents to me is always kind of like whatever. But he did one where he like, I made you an ice sculpture, and the ice sculpture was his parents having sex. And they were like, ew, like, what is this? And he was just like, don't you love it? And it was like super graphic and gross. Okay, let me switch over here, but I gotta pause it beforehand.
All right, we have Amanda to thank for this, and she's gonna watch it with us, so we're gonna get a couple chuckles from my daughter. All right, we're talking about Jackass, and we're talking about all this stuff, and like you said something like, have you ever done these things? So then this reminded me of that.
Okay.
Should we share it bigger?
I think...
Will it go bigger?
Not much, but if you guys... This is probably your primary view here.
There's no sound.
Nancy Pelosi.
He just let that guy on fire.
Oh man, you can't get around the shoes.
The more you run, the more it's gonna flame up. Oh my gosh, why did they think this was gonna happen?
I'm sure they're still friends.
See, it just lit up again.
Oh,
like
shoot,
his friend lays on
off.
it. Yeah, his friend lays on it. That's a good friend, man.
Well...
He smothers it with his body.
Is he a good friend?
Well, I'm sure that other guy told him to like light him on fire. I'm sure there was some plan.
We don't need sound for this, says David.
Look at how much gas he just poured down. And then he sets his legs on fire.
The worst part is, it might have worked if he hadn't set his friend's pants on fire.
What worked? What are they trying to accomplish?
I know.
I think he was trying to skateboard down a ramp of fire. It might have worked.
Hey, what are those things called? Those Darwin Awards? Like this guy was definitely a what do they call those?
Candidate.
Runner-up candidate, yeah.
He's trying to put it out with his body.
All right, then it flames up. Watch it. Boom. Do you see it? And then he just lays on it.
Just take his shoes off and pull it off.
The thing, yeah, but he probably did the smart thing because that fire, gasoline does not stop until it's burned out. It'll burn everything until it's gone.
Also, they're using a rock as a ramp.
Oh, there's nothing smart about this. I'm surprised he didn't set that can on fire.
Oh, yeah, he did leave it there. Well...
If that kid would have went the other way and knocked that can of gasoline over, that whole park would be on fire right now.
I'm amazed the grass didn't catch on fire anyway.
If this was here in Southern California with the dry brush and stuff, they would have like, that whole park would be on fire right now. His friend still has something in his hand. What does he have in his hand?
I think his hand was just clenched.
Maybe a video camera or something, GoPro.
Oh, it probably was the camera, right?
Mox Nick says stop, drop, and roll.
Exactly. Like he's just running. He's just catching it on fire even more. That would have been awesome if their motorcycle went up too.
No. No, it would not.
All right. So are we going to get on with this Andy Dick thing?
Let me read some of your guys'
Thank you, Amanda.
stuff.
No problem.
Let's see. I don't think we need to... Oh, that video. Stop, drop, and roll. David says, proof the gene pool is self-correcting. Lorenzo says, who is your co-host? She's on here a lot, but I never see her info or links. I'm assuming you're talking about me. Hi, I'm Tag.
Who are you, Taylor?
I'm Tag. I'm Hack Shack alumni, co-writer of Black and White. Welcome. The best place to find me is probably here. I don't think you need my links because I'm always here.
Well, she's on YouTube if you search. She's got Instagram. What else? You're mostly Instagram and YouTube, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but this is the primary YouTube channel. If you wanna, stop by, spend time with me. 90% of the time, I'm at Hack Shack.
Yeah. It's a good place to be.
It is.
Yes.
It's a drama-free zone.
It's a drama, at least for today.
Matthew says, Art T. Bear, have you seen the one with the guy spinning in circles, throwing lit gas everywhere?
No, send it to me. I don't know. You know what? My daughter and I, we have this ritual where is it Sunday nights, Amanda?
Yeah.
We just lay in bed and we just watch epic fail videos for
Fail
about
Army. We watch Fail Army.
I love Fail Army.
for about an hour. Yeah.
People are asking for my links. You two work well together. You see, Lorenzo, you spelled my name phonetically right because you spelled it Grosso, and it is pronounced that, but it's spelled like Grosso.
But don't ever say that. She'll claw your eyes out.
As a kid, I always preemptively was like, it's Grosso, like before they even called
You said
my
that
name.
the first day you worked here.
I did. I'm used to it.
Like, you put me on spot, right? You're just like, this is how it's going to be.
And thank you. I think we work well together as
And
well.
I've never called you Grosso. Ever.
I mean, I'll answer to it, but it's not preferred.
Yeah. As long as there's a tuna sandwich attached to it.
That was so good.
Hey, Grosso. Grosso, have a tuna sandwich.
That sounds like such an insult.
Like
hey,
spot.
Grosso, have a tuna sandwich.
Well, my parents didn't do a lot of math when they named me Art. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. There's a word that rhymes with it.
I mean, that goes for a lot of names, I guess. It could be worse. My cousin's name is Lisa Stankiewicz. And that she's the only one in the family with that last name.
Yeah, but I don't know. This was a first name. They had control over it.
Yeah, you're right.
They could have, if they just would have done the rhyme game, like every parent, if there's any parents out there, new parents or whatever, just do the rhyme game. And if the name passes the rhyme game, then you're good.
I mean, but also, you only have a short time on Earth and you want to get real weird with it. Like, if I was you and I had a son, I'd name him Ted, because then his name would be Ted T. Bear.
I don't know.
It'd be cool. Well, it would be cool. But...
Theodore.
See, Theodore T. Bear sounds cool.
Theodore T. Bear. Like Teddy Bear.
Ted T. Bear.
Ted T. Bear. All right. I think I see where you're going here now.
Yes, chat. That is the correct spelling of my name. All right, let's get into this.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Now I'm all fired up the other way. All right, so like I said, what, like a half hour ago, before we went on all this cool tangent-y stuff.
By the way, I like that you guys have a ritual of watching Fail Army on Sunday, because I think it's the perfect way to unwind.
We bond.
We
bond over people's pain and sorrow and
they want it. They recorded it.
You know what one of my favorites is the snow, like the snow sledders. All right, it's usually like a little kid, right? But the thing about those little kids is they're so bundled up, it doesn't seem like you could hurt them, right?
Yeah, they're not going to get hurt.
So they're on the little saucer of the sled and they're going down the hill, and then a big dog will just run up and just tackle them and knock them off the sled. And a few times the dogs actually take control of the sled and go down the hill on their own. Like, was that the master plan? Did that dog have that all planned out?
I've seen that exact video.
It's crazy, right? Like, how is that done?
It's like, I want to get on there.
Yeah, they just knock the kid off and they take the sled from him. It's like sled jacking, but it's like a dog that does it. It's like a sled jack.
My mom told
If I saw that live, if I was there, like on the slopes, I would lose my crap.
I would die laughing.
I would just laugh so hard.
My mom always tells the story about how when they were little kids, some little neighborhood girl was on a big wheel or something with like a handle on the back.
Was it a green machine?
What's a green machine?
That's the one that turns from the back and you have the levers.
Ooh.
Those things are cool.
That sounds cool. I don't think it was. I think it was one of the ones with the handle where when you're a little kid,
brake,
you're adult, you're adult. Your parent can
push you. Oh, you
push
can walk your kid with them. Okay.
Yeah, and she talks how this kid was pedaling by herself up this hill, and when she got to the top, she stopped, and then the neighbor's dog, who was a poodle, ran up and jumped up and literally pushed it down the hill with its paws.
Ah!
I could
You hear
just-
screaming all the way down.
She's like, yeah, I just remember like everybody like laughing really hard about it, but it was really scary.
But we live on a slope here too, and so when Amanda would use her scooter, like it seems like it's going at a reasonable amount of speed,
Ooh.
but every house it just picks up. It like what is that mathematics where it does like these quantum?
The crazy velocity. Like...
Yeah, it just speeds up like.
You didn't catch me.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't gonna tell that part of the story.
Those like scooters, everybody became a daredevil on them, but
Those
when you
razor scooters.
wrecked,
They always like cracked your shins, whip around and hit you right in the ankle and shin.
Well, she started picking up. Okay, so the agreement was I was gonna catch you, but the whole story
I was
was
on my big wheel. I was like 5.
no, this was your razor scooter.
because remember you could lower the handle, so even little kids could use a razor. Because
No. I was younger. It's my big wheel. The razor scooter was when I flipped off the handlebars and you laughed at me.
No, this was the one where I was supposed to catch you, but
I know. I was on a big wheel.
Then how come you dumped it so bad?
I don't.
How do you get speed with?
I got the speed. I don't know.
Amanda,
big wheel.
everybody.
Amanda's lying, you guys.
No, I was really little. I think I was.
No,
on
how do you
my
get
big wheel.
How do you get the speed wobbles on a 3-wheeled vehicle?
Well, it was also like a kid's thing. I don't think it was meant to go like 40 miles an hour.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was a 3-wheeled scooter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it wasn't like a big wheel.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, they're like razor scooters.
Those are the proto razors.
right.
Yeah.
They're
I had
built,
one of those too.
Yeah, they're built exact. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you
They're-
can barely steer in those things, man.
Right, they're almost more dangerous than the
They're
razor
rigid,
scooters,
yeah.
right? Yeah, so but they move just as fast, but they have 2 wheels in the back, and they're bigger, I guess. And they got a wider, I think, like place to put your feet.
Yes,
little
that's
guys?
right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then they had the stupid brake where you put the foot down on the.
That was it.
But
But
it's
the brake
still-
is really just like it's trying to squash the wheel from moving. But
Yeah,
it never works.
It's like it's easier just to jump off the thing, right? so anyway, so the agreement was, I was a halfway point. So she was going to come booking down the hill, and if she was doing, because I grew up, as a kid, I did Daredevil. I grew up in the time of Evel Knievel, so I know about speed wobbles and crazy stuff that can happen, right? And so I'm thinking she can get to this point without speed wobbles. But if she looks like she's doing well, I'll let her go. And so the plan was like the neighbor's house. It's all a slope here. It's a pretty steep slope. But the neighbor has a big patch of grass. Like almost,
Okay.
because the hill also turns.
By the way,
So-
this hill is huge, you guys.
yeah, so if she keeps going straight down, she'll just end up in that grass, right? And the grass is kind of a hill, so it would actually stop her in a very gentle way. And even if she dumped it, she would it's a little bit of a berm, so she would be safe. So I assessed everything, right? So I wanted to keep my daughter safe and everything, but I wanted her to have fun at the same time, right? You want to be the thrill seeker, crazy kid, right?
Yeah, you gotta let kids, take the risk.
Yeah, kids be kids. So then she's coming up, she's zipping along, she's laughing her butt off. She's like, yeah! And so she gets
no.
right up to me, and then it's perfect, right? There's no speed wobbles. She's got it all under control, right? As soon as I assess the situation, I'm like, she's going to nail it. She's going to go perfect, right? She's going to be able to go all the way to the end, and then she's just going to lay down her scooter, and everything's going to be fun, and she's going to have the thrill of her life, right? As soon as she got past me, oh my gosh, she just dumped it so horribly.
Oh no.
Yeah, she turned the wheel or something, and she just went flying off that thing, and she just dumped it and ate it. God, you were all scuffed up, right?
Oh
And you're
man.
like, don't cry. If you cry, Mom will never let you do it again. So he like smuggled me into the house, and he's like keeping my mom downstairs. And he's like upstairs cleaning up all the I had like a little bloody chin. He's like, just don't cry, don't cry. And as soon as my mom walked in the room, I just like, Mommy.
She was so tough. Like, she had all this road rash. And so I'm already feeling like a shit hill, right? I'm already feeling horrible. And so then I'm like, because I love my wife, but moms are usually really, really protective of their kids. And so like dads are a little bit like, let's have some fun.
I was gonna say like my mom's policy was like, I think that's why like if I ever get hurt and stuff, I always like stress laugh, or I stress laugh in stressful situations, because she'd always laugh and be like, good one, to like diffuse it.
Yeah, so you don't cry or
Yeah,
whatever.
because I wasn't like a crier as a kid. I think that's why. My grandma would like freak out and I'd start crying, but she'd always be like, whoa, you wrecked it, and like laugh.
You dumped it big time, ha. Yeah. So like Amanda said, we got her in the house. We're cleaning out the wounds. Everything's looking like it's a-okay, right? So Amanda's being the tough camper, like she's not letting on anything. And she's like, yeah, everything's fine, Dad. Like we did it, right? And then as soon as her mom came in the bathroom, she just like lost it. I felt so bad.
My mom's like, what happened? I fell. I had a little bandage on my chin for a couple weeks. Dad would get like that, like surgical tape and like tape the bandage to my chin. It was so funny.
Oh my God.
I still remember that. And you took good care of me too. You were just, every day you'd look at it like, you're doing good, kiddo.
You're a quick healer, man. You're like Wolverine. You got that healing factor. Yeah. Good times. Yeah.
Mox Nick says, man, I always wanted a green machine.
Oh, me too.
Those things are pretty cool.
Yeah, one of these days, you know what we should do? We should do a Booming Out Loud, and we should do, like, childhood toys that we never had but wanted.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody in the chat can chime in. We should write that down. That'll be fun.
You just have to put on that 70s show episode when Red destroys Eric's Evel Knievel stunt cycle.
Right, and I have a story almost identical to that.
Those toys are meant to be destroyed. Lorenzo says, great story.
I have plenty of them, but we'll spare you of those.
That's a tale for another time.
Okay, so where we started almost an hour ago was that I got no drawing done, by the way, you guys. I've been kind of dabbling back and forth, but no significant progress here on page 42.
Time is flying.
Yes. So one of the cool things about being a comic book artist and stuff, and if you're a certain level of success, you kind of have a reputation, and so sometimes Hollywood or people, celebrities and stuff like that, even musicians know who you are. So I got called in. I was the X-Men artist, or one of the X-Men artists at the time. So I got called in to do to help out on the Andy Dick show. So he had an MTV show. This was 20 some odd years ago, and so he had it like a skit comedy show, but a lot of it was based on, a lot of the stuff Andy Dick does is in real time with real people. Like he kind of, part of it's rehearsed and part of it is just like improv with real people. And so what this was going to be is, I was hired by the art department on the Andy Dick show to create a character named Lobesy the Lobe Man. And so Lobesy the Lobe Man was a very obscure X-Men character. And so...
He's canon, right?
Lobesy the Lobe Man?
Yeah, because he had an appearance.
Sort of. He sort of did. After I got done, he did. And so the idea was to give it some kind of like reality. They wanted, since I had done this comic, I did the artwork for the comic, to match the artwork, they had me recreate a page that would fit in this actual Uncanny X-Men comic book. And so I drew this page that was totally made up. It was like a group shot of the X-Men, and it had a couple like supporting panels. And so I drew Andy Dick in it as Lobesy the Lobe Man. So I also like basically created the costume, but the costume already had parameters because they don't have a lot of money, like a budget. But his mutant ability is that he has long earlobes. Like that's all his mutant ability was, that he just had really long dangly earlobes, hence the name Lobesy. And so then I drew him into the background. Ooh, you know what we should do?
Can we switch over? We got graphics for this.
Get the camera.
All right.
Let's do this. Let's move. Ooh, let's get this party started.
There's page 42, you guys.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I've been bouncing in and out of. All right. Okay.
Yes.
So this is the page. This is the comic book page.
Oh, I see him.
That I was hired to do. Yeah, so this is Lobesy the Lobe Man. So the idea was to not make him a prominent X-Men character, but that he's in the background somewhere. And they wanted him in shadows. So they didn't want him like really, dominant in it. So he's a very obscure X-Men character. So to add to the reality of the show, I did this mock-up page, and the art department. Check this out, Taylor. There was only one made. I wish I had it. There was a comic book that they printed up with. We got this colored and everything by the same colorist that worked on the book and everything. So we had this thing mocked up and put in an actual comic book. So Andy Dick's character Lobesy could actually flip the pages. It was in the book. It was a mock comic book. It was very, very cool. A cool prop. And so I got to know Andy a little bit, and so did the studio. The studio at the time, Hack Check Studios, helped out with some of the stuff I can't remember. Actually, I do remember. We had a color department. So yeah, the actual colors for the book didn't color it. We colored it in-house at the studio. So I think Rich Peraro did the color work on this thing. But it matched the artwork in the comic book. So just to explain this, so we were asked to go to Andy Dick's dressing room. He had a trailer. And so we went back to the trailer, and we got to hang out with for a while, have some drinks and things.
I like his signature, by the way.
Yeah, I met his son. His son's super down to earth and cool.
Aww.
I sent his son like a care package. So he seemed like he felt like he was kind of a little like left out of the conversation. But when we were talking about comics,
How old was he?
Oh my gosh, he was probably perfect comic book age, maybe 13, 14, somewhere around there. And so I asked him, I said, "Do you like comic books?" He said, "Yeah," like very enthusiastically.
Aww.
And so yeah, I put a care package of all the books that I'd worked on and stuff like that. I sent it to him. And so I got a thank you letter from them both. They're just very cool people. And you always hear like Andy Dick's kind of a wackadoo. And I can see how people would think that. But when I'm not saying I know him or, I know him very well. But the way he interacted with his kid and everything, it seemed pretty down to earth, at least at that moment in time. So yeah, so we did that. And so I asked Andy Dick if he would sign this up. And so he did. And yeah, it was very cool. So we have that. So I also, it was it was all put together last minute. So the artwork and all that came together very last minute. So the creation of the character, drawing him as a comic book page, and then I was asked also, because there's another part of the story of Lobesy the Lobe Man that's actually, that was filmed, is that the backstory of Lobesy is that he's an out-of-work actor. So he's kind of like Adam West. You know how you'd see Adam West kind of at Comic Cons and stuff, and he'd have his table, and he'd be signing autographs and things like this. So the skit idea was that Lobesy is at a comic convention, and he's got his little table set up, and he's selling autographs. You know how those actors, they sell autographs? But sometimes they'll sell the autographs as that character.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It'll be like, Adam West as Batman or whatever it is. And so that was the idea. And so one of the things that Lobesy, the character, is trying to do is he's trying to develop a movie. He wants a movie. It's called Lobesy and His Aquafarius Adventures or something like that. And so I'm telling you, this thing was all flight of, like, they were flying by the seat of their pants and they were putting this together.
Aquafarius.
And the art director calls me up, Taylor. This was the day of the shoot, right? And he says, "Do you have a swimming pool?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Describe it to me." And this is a rock pool. It's built in the side of a hill.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. He goes, "No, it's not urban enough. It's too upscale." He said,
What?
we need a flat, like a basic like 1950s.
They wanted it to look like kind of dingy.
Yeah, like 60s, like not really nice. And so then they go, "Okay, well, thank you." So I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? But I was also hired to draw the storyboards for the Aquafarius Adventure. So
do you have them?
No, I gave him to Andy Dick.
Darn it!
This story is so cool, you guys. It has so many layers. I hope you guys are still thinking this is entertaining because this is so epic.
Adam AF says, "Haha, this is awesome. I showed up just in time."
Yeah, cool.
You did.
Yeah, and so what I did, Taylor, is I I know because I have friends that work in Hollywood and stuff, and so they always say the same thing. Like they say it's in the details. Like everything they do. Like if you see set designers and makeup guys, like they design this stuff so because they never know what angle the camera is going to be at. They never know what's going to be on screen, right?
Yeah.
They never know what's going to be filmed. So sometimes like those magazines on the racks are real magazines and stuff like that. You know, like it's crazy the detail. And so I got a notebook and I'm not kidding you guys, I filled every page full of like this character's notes. So
Lobesy.
The Lobesy, and some of them were storyboard ideas and some of them were just incoherent thoughts. And so I knew that the character was supposed to be a little like a wackadoo, and I know Andy Dick is, you know, like his persona is a little nutty. So some of the entries were drawn in Crayola. Because Amanda was the perfect age. We still had crayons at the house. So,
like he drew it himself.
Yeah, that he drew them himself, but like he drew them with kids' tools. So what ended up looking is it looked very psychotic. Like almost like it was like his manifesto. You know what I mean? Like they were
hilarious.
Like, don't do this, do that. You know, and some of it would be crossed out with like red, you know, Crayola and stuff like that. And so there'd be crazy drawings, like kid-like drawings. Because I figured like his art skills weren't, you know, like the best.
Yeah.
So
you kind of had to like tone it down to make it seem like he did it.
It was plausible, but like as it like, you know, like sometimes like child art almost looks scary, like it's
yes. There's
crazy.
something disturbing about it. On the same token, though, like you can tell when somebody's a good artist trying to draw like lesser because you can't unlearn some of the lessons you learn as an artist.
I wish I would have scanned this book in. This thing,
man, would have been cool.
Everybody would just like. Art is completely psychotic. Like this was, I don't know where I was channeling this stuff, Taylor. It was just coming out like, and it was so much fun doing it. And so this went down to the wire, you guys, that I turned in all my art stuff and everything the day of the shoot. And if you're a Southern California person, when I say this place, everybody's going to know exactly the place. It was Frankensons. So Frankensons has a convention. Is it the first weekend of every...
Oh man, I was hoping the image would be up here.
Is it the first weekend of every month? Is that when they do the cons?
Well, actually, Frankensons is open they have the cons every month, like you said. And then it's open as it is every Saturday and every Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So weekly then.
Yeah. But, you know, the Saturday and Wednesday is really just, it's like having a con show floor. But they have like guests and they have the people signing and stuff every month, I would say. Like
okay, so it's kind of a regular like almost like flea market environment.
Like a nerd flea market. Yeah.
And then once a month they have the big like guests come in and stuff like that, right? Because they've had like Stan Lee and
wrestlers, comic guys.
Yeah. And so
it's pretty cool.
The idea here was that Andy Dick, it was scripted, but that he was going to interact at a real convention with real convention goers. It was just the most insane circus I've ever seen.
Cryptic Collectibles says, RT Bear, I met you at the Deadpool event there.
Oh, okay, with Rob Liefeld?
That was a good time.
Well, Taylor was there too.
I was.
Yeah, so you met Taylor as well.
That was a lot of
Maybe
fun.
you didn't know that was the same.
Possibly
tag.
not.
Yeah, because you're the mystery.
I am.
No one really knows what you look like. If we give out your social media, they're going to know, though.
Well, somebody already saw me because they were talking about my Facebook picture. So I guess it's not that much of a mystery.
Oh, that Facebook picture. The wasteland stuff?
Yeah, the very same.
Yeah. So anyways, so I get there. They're just about ready to shoot the Lobesy episode, right? So I get there, I hand the art director the comic book, and then Andy Dick shows up, and he's talking to the art director. He's like, no. And he's just kind of, he's not crazy. He's like a one-man, like the Andy Dick show, when it says the Andy Dick show, this is like, it was guerrilla filming. Like, it really is him directing it. He's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's wearing many, many hats on this stuff. He's kind of coming up with the camera angles. He's just doing everything. So, and it's done really, really fast. So, like, there's no time. Like, he just says, over here, do this, do that. So, he's not necessarily the sweetest guy. You know what I mean? When he's telling things. So,
because he's got to execute it fast.
So then, he's kind of having a hard time with the art director. And then the art director hands him the Aquafarius,
Adventures.
storyboards. Yeah. And so he's looking at it and he's just flipping out. Like, but not in a bad way. Like, he's like, his mood changes. He's like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. Because this is brilliant. Like, the comic book, who cares, right? He didn't, like, all the stuff I really did work on, he didn't care. But that sketchbook, that, like, his notebook.
Into it.
Oh, he was into it big time. And he goes, who did this? And so then the art director goes, that guy over there. And he goes, bring him over here.
Yes.
So then I got to meet Andy Dick, and I shook his hands. He goes, this is brilliant. He goes, thank you so much, man. You're saving my butt on the designs and everything. Because he knew by my name, right? He didn't know what I looked like, but once I was introduced, he knew who I was. And so then he said, hey, man, he goes, with your genius, he goes, you need to take a shot at this. So he gave me the art director's job. I was doing like the art director stuff. So when it says like meet the Lobes man and Lobie is real and all those like those cardboard things, that's all me drawing those. I drew all those things on the fly, man. I drew them with Andy Dick looking right over my shoulder. You talk about I was so
that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I was so unnerved. It was unnerving. And so also I'm not sitting down, I'm standing up and I'm on the prop table. Like I'm in the set. Like I'm not drawing it in like a studio or any place I'm comfortable with.
Not ideal conditions.
Yeah. So
by the way, you guys keep that in mind when you ask people to like draw at cons and stuff. It's like the worst drawing conditions to draw under.
The lighting, you guys, like I can barely see at those cons.
It's really hard.
Yeah, I can barely see. But anyway, I know this is getting long, and I don't mean it to. Should we just cut to show we have a little we have the show actually.
Yeah.
We'll show some clips of it.
We got a little intro here. Sorry for the quality. These episodes are hard to find, and the formatting's weird because TVs were square then. But
this is the intro.
Taste.
Yeah, the intro to the Andy Dick show.
It was very wholesome. Look how miserable they look.
He's dancing.
And sorry for any buffering. The video is a little low quality, but you will be able to.
They're all jumping him.
It has ice cream for them.
Well, that's how you win kids over.
They all turn on him.
So keep in mind, you guys, that's my design work.
I'm late. I usually am here right on time.
There it is. I drew that.
Lobesy.
Meet Lobesy. There's a bunch of black and white comics, you guys, too. All the see them on the table. There's some black and white comics there, too.
Oh, man.
Okay, there.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to give you guys a better view. I got to do my full screen
share. You guys can't
here.
see too much. There's cable comics. There's some black and white comics.
All right, I'm going to rewind it a little bit here so you guys can see, and we'll do full screen.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to...
Let's see. We still can't see it. Hold on a sec. I'm going to try to course correct here. It's cool, my babies. It's cool. Okay. Get this on here.
So they couldn't see it, or it's just because of the pixelation of the image?
No, they couldn't see it. I really hope that YouTube isn't blocking our stream, because I'm switched over right now. Let's see. Man. This better go through. Screen froze. No!
Are you serious?
Here, wait.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we got it.
Why YouTube?
I got it paused, you guys. It's not
We
frozen.
built this thing for an hour.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so this is the intro to the Andy Dick Show. How do you win kids over? Ice cream.
I'll put the link in the chat for you guys as well.
And we apologize. We looked all over for better resolution. I have a disc of this they gave me, but I couldn't find it. So there's Frank and Sons.
If you guys have been here, by the way, it hasn't changed at all.
Usually I'm here right on time. My name is Andrew Trundle, but right now I'm playing Lobesy the Lobe Man. I'm doing an appearance at the Monrovia Comic Convention to let people know that Lobesy is an X-Man who has the power to have really long earlobes.
Lobesy is not an X-Man. He's a minor character in the comic book. He appeared in issue 182 in one panel in the background. And even then,
there it is. There's the drawing.
There it is.
Or if it was shadow, or his ears were swollen, or what.
Since I found him, I'm gonna play him. See the lobe? Did you see the lobe? That's his ear here.
I'm gonna send the link right now, you guys.
In front, and then it
Oh, we did all the lettering too, you guys. Like, we made up some crazy stuff. I think it says, let's bounce. Like, we just made up dialogue.
I call him a liar.
You know what I call you? An embarrassment to the comic book community. So does everybody else in this building.
I am not.
Yeah, you are.
Are not.
R2?
Are not.
There's, see the signs?
R2?
Loves you as real people.
Got me.
I got
You
you.
didn't get me at all. Hey, you know what, Trundle? Nobody's buying what you're selling.
Hey, buddy, Lonesy, right here. Get,
Those are real people. These are real people just walking.
Hi, what's your name?
The kid starts crying. Oh, right off frame, you guys. There's legal people getting waivers signed by those.
shoot.
He tripped that dude.
Can you sign my petition real quick?
Oh my gosh.
They're getting legal waivers off screen.
Spock ears? What? Spock, Vulcan?
Maybe you're at the wrong convention.
You are
And I
a
have
pathetic joke.
pockets.
There's me. I'm right
Oh,
there. You
there
see
you are.
that? That was me. There I am.
There's a young art.
Oh, someone's stealing your comics. Someone's stealing
Hey,
comics.
get out of there!
This is my trailer.
There's
to
me,
my
yeah.
movie, and we're just not going to probably go through a big studio. Who needs that?
It's a
hassle? I'm happy to
VHS.
pop this in and let you see it. Oopsie, the lobe
This is the.
is long earlobe.
This is his movie.
Shooting in a studio. I have to hold for trains. I have to hold for the air conditioner. Mom, camera ready? Come out.
Mom camera.
The silver type situation and meet your fate. Go ahead and remove your helmet. Then you're gonna be all the more vulnerable to Lonesy the Lobesman.
He slaps him with his earlobe.
You better run.
There's the pool.
Oh
All
my
that work
God.
just for that pool.
Lonesy's real. Ooh, Lonesy's real hot is what he is.
Oh God.
Where are you, dude? You're supposed to be here like at 10 a.m. What took you so long?
There's the silver type situation.
Meet the silver type situation in person. Lonesy.
Oh my God.
That guy behind there. Oh man, that thing almost fell over.
That booth is still there in the
It's-
exact same setup, by the way.
It is. They got that signed waiver from that guy too.
Situation? I know where you are hiding.
He jumped on that guy's shoulders.
Oh shoot. Oh, he ripped the lobe off.
That wasn't rehearsed.
Hurt too. Just pack up. Come on, let's go. It's been a real long day, but I think people are catching on. I'm really getting the word out there about Lobesy.
You're a freak!
You are.
You're an idiot!
You are.
Aww.
Look at the tape. He's taped his own ear back on.
I love this part.
Lobesy, lobe man.
So that's my big Aquafarius adventure on the Andy Dick show. I it wasn't rehearsed that you're gonna go on the show, but like Andy Dick's like you gotta get in here, you gotta be in the shot, and so the camera person, he was pushing me. You can't see it, but he's actually pushing me into frame, and then
man.
he keeps pushing me, and it's like. He's like, if you want to be in the shot, and he keeps pushing me further into the shot. And so there's a scene that was cut out, and actually, I actually got into the Film Actors Guild because I had a speaking line. It got cut out, but he was trying to fund his Aquafarius adventure. So that can that's on his table right there, it's like you can donate money to him for his movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's there. He's not only selling the photographs, but he's trying to get money to fund his movie. And so when I walked up, it's not in the thing. He shakes his can. He goes, "Lovesy's real, like donate to the Aquafarius Adventure, my movie." And so I'm like, okay. So I was chewing gum. Whenever I get in public situations, I chew gum, so your breath doesn't kill everybody. And so I
A
had
convention must, by the way.
yeah, a must. And so I had a bunch of wrappers in my pocket from the gum, because you don't want to throw it away or whatever. And then I had some change from lunch. So I reached in my pocket, and then his hand was out. And so I put it into his hand. And then he just opens his hand, and the camera focused on it. I saw this draft of it, by the way. I wish it would have stayed in. And so then he just goes, "Oh, thanks." And he starts picking the gum wrappers out of the mix, and then he puts the change into the jar. It's absolutely hilarious.
That's hilarious.
And one of the Hack Shack guys, his name is Eric, brilliant artist and good friend. they pushed him into the scene, and so he had my camera around his neck. This is the day when we had cameras. We didn't have phones. And so he has his camera, and he goes, oh, you probably want a picture with Lobesy, huh? And so this wasn't scripted. He grabs Eric, pulls him over like for a selfie, and he pulls the camera from around his neck, and he just takes the picture. I have the picture somewhere. We developed it.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
you gotta find it.
They're both in the shot. And then Rich was like, he was in charge of like the color, the Hack Shack color department, and he went with us as well. And so he's a funny guy, but he's also like a big grump, Taylor. Like he just has like, he has a sense of humor, but you can push him too far relatively easy. And so he goes up there, and one of the working labels, like they couldn't get low B, I think. So
they wanted Low B at first?
They wanted Low B, the Lobe Man.
Lobesy's so much better.
Right, and so they couldn't, believe it or not, there was a copyright. They did a copyright search. And they couldn't,
Lobie?
Yeah, they couldn't get the name Lobie. And so, but in the studio when we were putting this all together, every time we talk, we'd say Lobie, 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 right?
Lobie.
So when, Rich is put into this stressful situation, pushed into the frame, he said Lobesy. And he goes, Lobesy? I don't know who the hell Lobesy is. And so then he grabs his earlobe and he slaps Rich across the face with it.
Oh, man.
And oh my gosh, it was priceless because I was behind and I could see what the camera was seeing. And Rich, like I told you, man, he can flip. And there's some guys that have those like eyebrows that can go straight. Like there's no emotion, you know what I mean? They just go straight across the eyes, like they're just dead, right? And they can get that half eyelid, where they're just like
grumpy looking.
Yeah, they're just grumpy. And so then he turned with that face right at the camera, and he was right in frame, like it was big, right? You couldn't miss it. And oh my gosh, it was comedic gold. But
that's hilarious.
They would all, because you can't speak.
Oh.
If you speak, then you become like Screen Actors Guild, and they weren't willing to give everybody the Screen Actors Guild credits. And so, so a lot of that stuff was cut out because of that. But oh my gosh, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. But those are kind of some of the perks that happen to comic book artists, that they get called in to do these fun little side projects and things. So that's my Andy Dick story, you guys.
The link is in the description for the full episode if you guys want to check that out. And the timestamped link is I posted it in the chat, so check it out if you guys get a chance.
Yeah, do you want to keep and I can draw and we could talk, or
yeah, we can
what do
do
you
that.
Want to do? Yeah,
that's the Andy Dick story. We were gonna tell it last time, but we ran out of time
because tangents.
They're the pit stops in the road trip of life.
Yeah, they're the good parts of life. So I think Taylor's got some stuff prepared.
Let me get in here. Okay.
And I'm going to doodle for you guys.
Camera looks good. And don't forget, you guys, we haven't addressed it. I should have said it earlier. We're going to be at WonderCon this year.
Yeah.
Table, oh gosh, is it D47?
47? I think, yeah.
Yeah, table D47, so come visit. Let's see, we got Gary Shipman in the chat right now. Hello, Gary.
Gary's got a book, I believe. Gary, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it your create-your-own book, right? That's in there? Is it Packin's Land? Is that it?
Feel free to plug it, Gary. We'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't checked out Gary's book, Packin's Land, go check it out. I think he was giving us some nods, Taylor, that he did some remastering for the book.
Ooh, always recommend remastering.
Remaster. TM, Hack Shack Studios.
Cryptic Collectibles says, can't wait for WonderCon. It's going to be a good time.
So I think, because we came in last minute and I pulled in some favors with the promoter at the show. So we don't have the best of table space. But I think we're kind of middle. I think we're middle in and middle length of Artist Alley.
Yeah, we're pretty much smack dab in the middle of Artist Alley. So come say hi and hang around, you guys. Stick around in the chat. I'll read your chat if you have any questions. And by the way, if you guys are artists, and there's a couple artists in the chat, we are open for portfolio reviews right now. We're looking for some people. We're open right now. Got a little time to do it. If you want you know, a 35-year vet, someone you normally probably wouldn't have access to. Art can give you some art advice, some comic book professional advice if you want to submit your artwork. We haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, so what we want to do is get back into the portfolio reviews, and we spend about an hour, and we usually go through
2 people?
2 to 3, yeah.
Sometimes 1 if it's extensive.
Yeah, artists, and so we critique things on anatomy, perspective, storytelling, sometimes technique, and it's just kind of my way to give back to the community. When I was starting out, a lot of different artists, mainly actually like Walter Simonson and Carl Potts and Jim Valentino, they gave me some really good early advice, and it helped me out with my art. So I never forgot that, and I always want to feel like I'm giving back, somehow perpetuating and moving the art of comic book storytelling to the next generation. So if you guys have artwork, feel free. And is the link, that Mediafire link, going to be?
Yeah, the link is in the description to the Mediafire. You can drop the link there. Please scan the artwork. Photos are not ideal. And sequential artwork, preferred. Pinups can also be done. If you want art expertise, they should be high res, because we go over it on screen, and it'll be in screen in here now that we have the new technology. So it's important that it's high res, and it's important that you include your name so that we know who you are, in the file name preferably.
Yeah. So when you label the files, put your name in the file so I can see it when I go into Photoshop and open your files.
I'll be there reading the chat if you want to join us along live, maybe ask some questions, and Art will be there giving his expertise. So spread the word to any aspiring artist you may know. Yeah,
we have a few people right now in our what is that, it's like a
file
FTP,
share? Yeah.
FTP, file. But we definitely need more, especially if we're going to get into it, because like Taylor said, we usually do 2 to 3 different people, so we need quite a bit of new portfolios to talk about.
Yeah, so spread the word. It's going to be cool. It's fun. Art gets super harsh during them. It's crazy.
Yeah, I basically just dig in. I make people cry in the chat, in the portfolio reviews.
No, it's all in good fun. It's a good time. So don't be nervous. If you're thinking about doing it, now's the time, because we can do an in-depth portfolio review. And Gary's book is Packins Land Omnibus. Check that out. And we'll see you guys at WonderCon. Let's get into some news. Again, table D47.
Yes.
All right. So we got some interesting nerdy world news, I guess. One of the things is that by the way, Art, what are you working on right now?
Oh, this is Black and White Remastered, page 42. Should I put this in perspective? Maybe some storytelling context, I guess?
Maybe just a little bit. Gosh, I hope I don't sneeze. I'm trying to hold one back right now.
We're having weird weather right now. It practically snowed here yesterday.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, I'm a little runny as well. So, yeah, this is the sequence. So what I'm doing, these are brand new pages for the story. So I'm doing pretty detailed layouts, and
very detailed.
So I'm bringing these together right now. So this is a 5-page sequence, and the page I'm working on right now is this page here.
Very cool.
So then it will go back into some of the original Black and White 94 stuff, and this page hasn't been remastered yet.
I gotta grab that one today.
Yeah, so we'll start on the remastering process there. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of old and new stuff in the book, but it's kind of turning into more new.
Yeah, it really has. Somebody said, oh, you know what? Cryptic Collectibles has an excellent question. Maybe we could talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
He says, Art, have you had a chance to discuss adding a retailer tier to Black and White?
Are you a retailer? Answer yes or no. Because if you are, I'll put it in there.
Yeah, let us know. And if there's anybody in the chat that is a retailer that would be interested in a retailer tier, if there's demand, like, we can make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen as soon as we click off of this video. Yeah.
Muttman, good friend, says, at Gary Shipman, Artist Pro is helping with Tales from Beyond the Gate, funding now on Indiegogo. Could we get a shout out at Tag? Lots of creators on that one.
Oh, yeah. That's a great book.
It is. Tales from Beyond the Gate. Check it out. A lot of good creators on there.
How many are they entering into their third week or their second week?
I want to say third. Is it a horror anthology?
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. It's kind of funny to think, like, there's not a lot of mainstream horror comics now, but it used to be a huge genre in comic books in general. Like, horror comics were a big thing. Now I feel like they're all maybe zombie comics, but if you want a good horror comic, go ahead and get that. Cryptic Collectibles says, I currently sell online. Hopefully I'll start doing shows. I don't want to open a physical location yet. So you're a digital retailer?
So would you still be interested in a bundle of books at a discounted price? I'm not really sure where it's going.
And you can always reach out to us privately if you are a retailer, if there's retailers listening. Go ahead and go to artbythibert.com, and while you're there, if you're into original art, there's a gigantic archive of past books that Art has been working on. It's really cool.
And we have a newsletter too, so while you're there, sign up for the newsletter.
The newsletter is completely free. It's the best way to stay up to date on these things, and there's a contact tab. So subscribe to that newsletter and shoot an email, and maybe we can talk about this further. He says, I would definitely be interested.
Okay. We'll just put it up and see what happens then.
All right, retailer tier will come up.
I never know how many books either. Is like 5, 8, 10.
Yeah, what is the average retailer tier, if anybody knows? Because I was going to say 10, I think, is typical, but I've seen people do retailer tiers for bigger. We can tailor this to you guys. We have an open dialogue with you guys. If you're a retailer, if you're interested, let us know what would be ideal for that.
Yes.
Let's see. Muttman said, could Art give us a Walt Simonson mentor story?
Yes, I can. And at some point, I'm going to go through deeper into the Thibert archives because I know I still have these Xeroxes somewhere. When I first broke it at Marvel, I was inking Jose Delbo, who's a really good artist, and we were working on The Inhumanoids, which was a cartoon show as well. It was a toy line and a cartoon show. So I was inking over Jose, and so I was almost done with my first issue, and then my editor, who was Ralph Macchio, he usually is Frank Miller's editor. So he said to me, he's like, this is good artwork, but would you be willing to do some tweaks and I could get you a better page rate? This is, you guys, there's a lot of cool people in comic books, and there's a lot of really cool people in Comicsgate. Comicsgate right now, without all the infighting and some of the stuff that's going on right now, is really a cool place. There's a lot of cool people, and a lot of people elevating other people.
And a lot of people that just want what's best for the art form.
Yeah, and that's how comics was when I broke into the business in the Stone Age, when we were still drawing on cave walls. That's a joke, because I'm old, and I've been doing this for a long time. But he said, would you be willing to take some critiques? And I was like, of course. So I get these, Taylor, they were 11 by 17s. It was all of my inks in Xerox form, and there were critiques all over every one of the pages.
Wow.
And there was Carl Potts, who was an editor. He's also an artist. He's a very nice guy. He kind of mentored early on Jim Lee on Alpha Flight, I think, in some of those Punisher books and some of that stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that he helped out Jim a lot in the early days. And so then there was Walter Simonson, and then there was Ralph, and I believe there was somebody else. Maybe it was Al Milgrom or somebody like that. Like some of the old school Marvel mainstay guys. You know, they were always hanging out at Marvel and things, so they were all New York guys. And so each one of them had like they had different color markers and stuff, and they went over like thicken here, thin this out, maybe some bolder hatching here. So they just drew over everything. And so Marvel actually sent those pages back to me, Taylor, at their cost. They sent the pages back to me. This is when things were really cool. They sent the pages back to me and let me tweak them and re-ink them to meet this new criteria, these notes. And I did the best job I could. So I ended up raising my rate, I think maybe $10 or $15 per page.
Nice.
Because of the help of these guys that never met me. I was a newbie. I'd never been published before. This was my very first comic book. And those guys did that. And they didn't know who I was.
They just did it to help you because they cared about the art form.
Yeah, they just wanted good comics. And so that so reminds me of like what we were doing with the portfolio reviews, and even stuff like that John Malin does on his Comicsgate Presents, where he gives new people kind of a platform to promote or just basically let people know that it exists, their new books and stuff like that. So yeah, it was exceptionally cool. And I remember for the Chrono trade that we put out through Kickstarter a couple years ago, I was talking to Walter Simonson at San Diego Comic-Con, like maybe the summer before we were going to release that book. And I was telling him that he did this thing for me, and he goes, I don't remember. And I go, yeah, you did it. He goes, well, if I did it, he goes, it was a mistake, and I would never do that for you. Like, he's just like a gruff.
He thought it was like a bad thing? Or
No. He was just joking. He was just ringing my bell. He was just giving me shit,
That's funny.
And he goes, I don't remember it, whatever. He goes, that doesn't sound like me at all, kind of thing.
Or it means he's done it for so many people
that
he forgot.
It could be. But anyway, so I ended up, like, for the Chrono thing, I thought he would be a good choice to write like the foreword for the comic.
Oh, that's right. How could I forget about this?
For the trade. And so he said he would do it at that con. He said, yeah. He goes, no problem. I'll do it. I told him a little bit about the concept and everything. And yeah, he wrote the foreword for the Chrono trade.
Man,
which was awesome.
I wish there was one around here because I'd read it out loud because it's pretty good.
It's hilarious. Like it doesn't seem like he's a good friend because he kind of writes it very edgy. Like, Art reminded me that I did this favor, and he goes, just FYI, never do a favor for a stranger because they're gonna ask you to do another favor. And he just like I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said
it's all standoffish.
Yeah, he said some stuff like that. But then he goes, this reminds me of like Mobius' work on Airtight Garage, and it's a stream of consciousness. And he picked up on exactly what it was. So when I wrote the first Chrono Mechanics story, it wasn't really scripted. It was kind of just a stream of consciousness. I just started drawing. I'm a visual person, so I just started thinking of like visual comedy and visual gags to put in, and then just started creating a story based on that. And if you guys know Mobius's Airtight Garage work, it's basically that, where he was just making up new chapters as he went along.
I've always wanted to own that.
I think it's brilliant.
It seems very cool. And like you said, just like artistically, visually driven.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird visuals and stuff like that. And I wasn't really... I mean, there's a high concept to Chrono, and I've since really ironed it out with another writing partner. I did a screenplay, and with another writing partner, I did a novel. So it's kind of been fleshed out. And Taylor and I right now are looking for an artist to do another installment of Chrono Mechanics. So if you are an aspiring artist, maybe through that media fire, since we have that.
Yeah, you know what? Feel free to submit your artwork through that same media fire link, and reach out to us. Let us know if Chrono is a universe you might want to be a part of. And you can check out the Chrono Mechanics website, chronomechanics.com, if you want to kind of get a feel of the characters and a feel of the world. It's a very cool world.
Yeah, they're time-traveling repairmen. So time is literally a big machine. And so it was built at the dawn of time, at the very beginning. And so it regulates time streams, just everything. And so it's literally, I thought it'd be funny if it was literally a big machine. Like, it's a nuts and bolt machine. Like, it's like your car or something like that. And so then they need repairmen. And so it was also kind of my nod to knuckle busting, wrench turning guys and gals that make the world go round. You know, they keep your cars on the road, they keep the planes in the sky, they keep the boats afloat. You know, they do all these things. Make sure you have power to your house. You know, all these unsung heroes that are there every day. And my dad was one of those knuckle busting, wrench turner types. And there was nothing glamorous. There was nothing, you know, there's no accolades. There's just kind of punch the time clock, go to work, and come home, eat dinner with your family, and watch Sports Center or whatever was the equivalence of that, you know, at the time. So it's kind of a celebration of people like my dad that did that stuff. So it's kind of, they're just Joes that go and repairing time is just their pain in the ass job. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing glamorous about it, even though they go into all these different timelines, and they probably know the secrets of the universe. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but it doesn't affect them. They're just kind of, they go back to their normal existence at the end of every day, and that's pretty much it. So that's kind of the concept in a nutshell. So Taylor and I have an idea, a new story idea for Chrono Mechanics, and we'd like to try to bring it back out there.
Let us know if you wanna join in on that.
Hey Taylor, do you want to talk to him about the PBS Chrono Kids?
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Chrono world and how Art has a very good idea of the Chrono Mechanics universe. It's kind of got its own tone, like everything in that book, even the lettering, everything. And we actually pitched to PBS a children's show based on Chrono Mechanics, which, if you read the book, it seemed like a daunting task, but I think we did a really good job.
Yeah, we pitched it to them, but in more detail, they asked us
yes,
to bring it to them.
Yeah, they were already interested in the property, which is interesting because the original concept, or the original comic, I guess, not that it's not like kid friendly, but it's definitely not like little kid oriented. I mean, the lead character is a rock star from the 70s.
It's kind of like I pitch it like it's Looney Tunes meets H.G. Wells. And so it has kind of like, you know how Looney Tunes would have some adult humor, but that kids just wouldn't get?
It'll go over their head.
Yeah, so there's stuff like that. Kind of, I guess, not quite Simpsons-ish as far as tone, but
similar,
like that.
Similar. Definitely more Simpsons tone than a PBS tone.
And I'll tell you right now, man, when you brought to me, Taylor, Rick and Morty, I was so mad because I remember pitching this all around Hollywood, Chrono Mechanics, and they'd always say, how's the time travel work? What are the time travel rules? What are, time travel this? They wanted to figure out how the time travel worked. And I said, you know how time travel works in the Chrono Mechanics universe? Whatever's the funniest. And they're like, what? I go, if they say, if the setup rule is you can't touch anything, you can't affect anything in this timeline because it will have ripples throughout time. You know how they always set up those rules,
Yeah.
right? So I said, okay, for the sake of an episode, that's the setup, right? But then the chronomechanics end up messing everything up. You know what I mean? It's not just the butterfly effect, like this little thing, right? It's everything in major proportions, right? And then they look back and it affected nothing. You know what I mean? And I told him, I go, we do that if it's funny. So whatever the rules are, we just change them to whatever's funny. And if you guys are fans of Rick and Morty or you watch that show they hold themselves to no real standards with their time travel rules. It's like whatever's the most ridiculous and funny idea. And I believe, and Taylor and I have talked about this, right? It's the only way you could do these kind of time travel on an ongoing basis, because at some point you are going to create paradoxes.
It's inevitable.
And you're going to get yourself into some messed up timelines. Or if you can travel back and forth in time at will, then what's the point of anything? You can undo anything.
Yeah, it's a very, I would say, near impossible constraint to write within as a creative person, because there's really no set rules. There's a rigid set of basic rules, but you're gonna miss some stuff. There's no way to avoid the paradoxes that would come from just involving time travel in the story. So if you don't hold yourself to a standard, and the standard is just whatever makes the best comedy, like Rick and Morty does, Chrono would definitely work within that scale.
As an ongoing, if you do a one-shot, like the reason the Terminator, the first two movies worked real well, is because they were working under a very rigid kind of way time worked. It was a one-way ticket, right? Like you couldn't come back. So if you make it like where you can go back and forth at will, then anything's possible. And if anything's possible, then nothing has impact. Nothing matters. Because you can just undo it.
Yeah. And they totally crapped on that in the newer one.
Yeah, so I always thought that was kind of an interesting, I at least thought it was an interesting aspect to Chrono, is like the criteria was as long as it's funny. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't,
first and foremost.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the time travel rules are. We would break those rules at will as long as it was funny.
Yeah. And that's really what Chrono holds itself to. It's a wacky world. Time is a machine. Stuff's gonna happen, and the stuff going wrong is what makes the story anyway, because they are repairmen.
Yeah, so the more more cluster F situations that happen, the funnier it becomes.
Because that's what they got to deal with. They're dealing with time going awry. Title says Futurama did a good job with time travel.
Oh yeah, I always forget about Futurama. Yeah,
that episode is very chrono mechanics oriented, where they have that little bubble where it's like, this is the bubble that time can't affect, so they stay in it to shield themselves. They move around.
Yeah, you could just make stuff up, right? You could just make up like the way time works.
Yeah, just make something to get around it. Joe Flamenco says, yes, if Skynet was able to send multiple Terminators, then they would always win.
Yeah.
James says, is Art cleaning his quill or brush on his sleeve?
Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys, this is like my ink shirt. You should see the shirt.
Inking's a messy job, you guys.
Yeah, sometimes I forget, like I'm on camera here. Yeah, I would, like, when I would ink in a hurry, I would just do, whatever.
You know what? Futurama, now I think about it, is a really good comparison, more so than The Simpsons. The Futurama tone is very similar to the Chrono tone.
I always use The Simpsons because when Chrono Mechanics was created, it was before Futurama.
That's right. But probably a better comparison.
Yeah, now.
Yeah. Let's see. Futurama was amazing. It was. Speaking of things within that weird tone, did you know, Art, that the sequel to Bill and Ted is official now?
Yeah, I saw a picture of those guys at, like, the Coliseum, or no, where was it? The Hollywood Bowl or something? Yeah,
Bill and Ted 3 has been announced. It's going to be released on August 21st, year 2020.
Is it Alex DeWinter and what's that other guy? He seems very obscure. I think he was in John Wick.
Oh,
What is that actor's name?
oh yeah,
What is
that
his
little
name?
guy named Keanu
Is
Reeves.
it Reeves? No, that's Christopher Reeves.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
thinking. Keanu.
Kevin.
Keanu Reeves. yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I love the first one. I absolutely think it's amazing.
Would you like to hear the synopsis of the film?
You have it there?
Apparently, this is like their pitch or their plot point for this next movie.
I would love to.
Okay. Following 1989's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and 1991 Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the stakes are higher than ever from William Bill Esquire Winter and Theodore Ted Logan Reeves. Yet to fulfill their rock and roll destiny, the now middle-aged best friends set out on a new adventure with a visitor from the future who warns them that only their song can save life as we know it and bring harmony to the universe. Along the way, they will be helped by their families, old friends, and a few music legends. What do you think?
It sounds good to me. I don't know. I'm gonna really miss George Carlin now.
There's a lot of missing people in this because one character that won't be able to return obviously is Rufus, which is George Carlin, and let me see, there's a long time coming. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter will be the returning as title characters, and there's no other real people revealed, but William Sadler is returning, who is going to reprise his role as the Grim Reaper.
That guy was pretty good, though.
So that'll be interesting.
That was a weird... You talk about, trying to figure out how to sell an idea.
That was bizarre.
It wasn't the original, Bill and Ted Go to Hell or something like that was the title of it?
That's pretty much what the movie's about, right? The Bogus Journey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't as invested in that one.
Do you ever feel like that Billy and Mandy was kind of, based on, that type of idea? Fooling the devil, but kind of being oblivious?
Yeah, actually, pretty much, huh?
Because they hang out with the Grim Reaper, and didn't Mandy trick him or something?
Yeah, I'm in the minority of not liking that show. I know everybody loves it, but it they beat him in, what was it? Oh gosh, a limbo competition is what it was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was very bizarre. I'm going to give you guys, some people asked about the MediaFire link. It is in the description, but for ease of access, I'm going to give it to you right now.
Yeah, you guys, please do that. I would love to get back into some of those portfolio reviews. They were a lot of fun. It's weird because we become so busy that I think Taylor was restructuring the YouTube page, and she's like, remember when we used to do portfolio reviews? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
So here's coming the link for portfolio reviews. It's a good time. I should submit some of my stuff. It'd be funny.
Just don't tell me.
Yeah, I'll see how much you destroy it.
I would recognize it.
Here's the link for portfolio reviews. There you go, you guys. Bill and Ted Do Stuff says Joe Flamenco. I don't think there's a word on the title yet.
That's pretty funny though.
F Google says no Clarence Clemens, and Joe Flamenco says do not neglect my butt. Reaping burns a lot of calories. Yeah, that was a funky one. But yeah, Billy and Mandy, The Grim Adventures. That thing was on for a while.
Can you name all the rock stars that are in Bill and Ted, the first one?
Oh my gosh. I can't name them. I'm going to try to find a list sheet.
I have 3, because one guy just said Clarence Clemens. So there's Clarence Clemens, Martha Davis, and is it Phil Weebell?
Oh, that's right.
They're in the future, the rock thing.
Are we talking about Bogus Journey?
No, the first one.
Okay. Because all I remember about Bogus Journey is that they played the God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
The Kiss song?
Yeah.
He gave it to everyone.
He did. I'm Googling, and for some reason Bogus Journey comes up way before Excellent Adventure, which I think is really weird.
Yeah, I think they're sitting on a throne, like Martha Davis, and I think it's Phil Waybill, because he's the singer, I think, for the Tubes, and she was the singer for that LA band, the Motels.
Oh gosh, I don't even know who that is.
They had that song, if you take the L out of lover, it's over.
That's hilarious.
Take the L out of lover, and it's over.
That's funny.
You know what? That would be a perfect song for like. I always forget the blonde country singer, the young Taylor Swift.
Oh.
I could see her doing that.
I could too, actually.
You could do it like pop twangy, you know. Take the L out of lover, and it's over.
Did you know that
I did.
You did?
No, I didn't.
Aw,
I don't know
I
what you're
didn't.
gonna say.
They almost had Ted was almost played by River Phoenix.
I heard there was all kinds of alternate casting and stuff. And those two guys that created that show were college guys, and there was originally supposed to be 3 of them.
Yeah, Sean Penn was almost one of them.
No, because they were in an improv group in was it one of the LA colleges like USC or UCLA?
Please tell me it was somewhere near San Dimas.
And those guys would improv those Valley dudes, and there were 3 of them, and so Bill and Ted were just like an extension of those improv characters that they did in college.
Okay.
And there were originally going to be 3 of them, but then they pared it down.
So they were basically, it's kind of like those SNL movies where they have like the characters get their own movies.
Right, but also from what I remember, though, it's kind of an extension of those guys too. Like one of them's modeled after that guy, and the other one's modeled after the other guy. So that Bill and Ted are kind of those 2 guys.
That's funny.
In real life.
I didn't know that. Megadeth is in part 2, says Hardware Wars.
Yeah, part 2, they pulled out all the stops, man.
But the first one's the one that I think is more miraculous because it seemingly came out of nowhere.
And they don't broadcast who those guys are. You know, they don't say this is this guy from this band or this is that guy from that band.
You know what's a really bad movie, but I feel like it was trying at the time to be the new Bill and Ted? Was that crappy Dude Where's My Car movie?
You know what? I wanted that movie to be good.
It really wants to be Bill and Ted. Like, it wants to be a nastier version of Bill and Ted so badly. Like, they even do, like, the supernatural thing at the end and stuff.
Yeah, that movie was not that good.
It's very bad. Although, as a kid, that "and then" scene I thought was the funniest thing on earth.
There are a couple key funny scenes to it. But do you think that movie maybe gave birth to The Hangover? Because it's kind of a similar idea. Like, dude, where's my car? And, like, The Hangover is like, what happened that night?
Yeah, because they got blackout drunk, right? And that was the whole... They were just finding out things that had happened when they were blackout drunk.
And isn't that kind of the premise for Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah, so it kind of did, actually. I never thought about that. The Hangover's just... Better.
Yeah.
That stupid dude sweet joke that everybody quoted for like half a year in elementary school. Oh my gosh. There's 121 remakes and reboots coming since Hardware Wars.
Not enough if you ask me.
Are there any like reboots or because that's not really a reboot, it's using the same guys.
The Bill and Ted?
Yeah, it's not so much a reboot.
Well, I hope it does well because I have a time travel concept that I'm trying Hollywood, so
you know, if you wanna try something original,
yeah, for a change,
come to Hack Shack.
What? I mean, you guys are amazing.
We're open for sure. Are there any, and this is for the chat as well, but I'm asking you, Art, are there any reboots and remakes coming out that you can think of off the top of your head that you're actually looking forward to?
No. Sadly, no. Oh, I have one. Dumbo. No.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
that looks weird.
Oh, Aladdin. No.
What about Pet Cemetery?
Especially no.
That
when that in the trailer, I know it's in the story, but when that diesel truck drives right next to the house in the trailer, that's not meant to be funny, right? But it's almost comedic.
It's hilarious because it's the road they just finished driving off of, and they all turn like, what? Like they didn't know that there was a road there, but they drove up on that road.
But it's
2
also
seconds ago.
comedically close to the house.
It's like right up by the driveway.
Like, why would that happen? That would never really happen, and it
Well-
wouldn't happen to that extent.
Well, in the original, it wasn't that close because when the kid wanders out there, they're at like a party and they don't know so you want to run. And it takes a while for the dad to run over there and get to him before it's too late. In this one, you can see it from there. Like, it's like right butt
It's like in the front yard. It's like right off the side of the house.
Yeah. It,
And then that truck.
the sound is all pumped up.
It's like, what the heck, man?
And they didn't know it was butt up against their house when they bought it.
Yeah, it's like a scene from Big E, or what is it? Was it Evil?
Little Evil.
Because don't they buy a house right next to a cemetery?
He's out playing in the cemetery. That's an amazing movie, by the way.
I love that movie.
Let me see. I've heard the Pet Cemetery reboot is actually getting good early reviews, says Cryptic Collectibles. Maybe, but the trailer cut looks absolutely terrible to me.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want it to be bad, but just that scene alone looked pretty funny. The thing I will give it is it's got John Lithgow,
Yeah.
or however you say it. That guy brings a certain level to everything, so I think he'll be amazing in it.
Yeah, it's pretty good casting, actually. We got Men in Black coming out later as well. And the live-action Dora the Explorer movie.
Let's not forget that.
And the Lost City of Gold.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, Dora the Explorer, the Lost City of Gold.
What does Dora need with gold?
She explores everything, man.
I know, but wouldn't it be cooler if it was like dinosaurs or like Atlantis or
Ooh, Atlantis.
Why does it have money attached to it? Like she's money grubbing.
Because then she can like pick up the gold and be like, look, it's El Dorado. I don't know.
What color is it? And then people wait, it's like, it's gold.
Bate chocolate. Keanu Reeves is gonna be besides the new Bill and Ted movie, the new John Wick movie.
The trailer's out. The trailer is out, right?
Yes,
I saw something. Yeah.
It just dropped. I have not seen it. I'm excited about it. Did you see the second one?
No, I have not. You talk about a movie that blindsided me. Like, I was like, oh, really? This just looks like every cliche I've ever seen. And then by about the first 20 minutes, I'm absolutely sucked into it. And I'm like, this is the coolest damn movie I've seen in a long, long time.
You gotta see the second one. The only reason I watched the first one is because you put your seal of approval on it, and I think you'd like the second one a lot.
I heard it's like a really good continuation of the first.
Yes, it definitely is. I want to read this plot synopsis has been released, but I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen the second one. It sounds very, very good.
Cool.
And weird, most importantly.
Well, you know what? There is an underlying to a book that we're working on.
You know what? Without giving anything away, now that I'm reading the synopsis, I'm actually kind of getting mad because it sounds very sounds very, very familiar. It sounds very similar to something that we're working on.
Yeah. So
this is bullshit.
Yeah.
However, it's set to come out May 17th this year.
Oh, not too far away.
Yeah, and it's got I'm trying to see some actors. You know what? I don't recognize any of them.
There's the one guy. He was in like he's in a lot of stuff. I want to say his name's Shane Black, but that's the director. He was in the Pirates movies.
Oh yeah,
he's like
yeah.
the dark-haired, like the older dark-haired guy.
He plays Odin in American Gods.
Yeah, I think that's the same guy. Yeah.
I forget that actor's name. Chime in chat if you know.
Is it Shane something? Ian Shane or Ian McShane or
That sounds really familiar.
yeah.
It looks good. Cryptic Collectible says, I actually really enjoyed the It remake.
My daughter did too. You saw it, right?
I really liked it, actually.
Yeah.
Fudd says, I thought that was a joke. They're actually doing a Bill and Ted sequel.
Yeah.
2020, mark your calendars.
I do kind of feel your skepticism on it, but I don't know. There's a weird part of me that wants to see that thing succeed.
Likewise.
I like those two actors. I think Keanu Reeves is one of the underrated, like really, really cool Hollywood guys. Like in real life, like he's just a cool dude.
He's have you seen the joke art? Somebody made like a little comic and it says it's like annual meeting of actors everybody loves, and then it's just the next panel is Keanu Reeves sitting alone in a room.
Yeah.
It is true.
He's very gracious. That guy has endured so much heartbreak and craziness in his life. You would just think like a lesser man would have just given it up. But he's very gracious. He's very giving. He's very down to earth. From what I read, I've never met the guy. But
He seems very cool.
yeah. In the best of ways. Not like he dresses cool or he has cool hair. I just mean like in the cool way that matters.
Yeah,
you
his
know?
character, for sure. Let's see. Apparently, Marvel just released a new Honor TV spot for Thor for Avengers Endgame. I have no idea what that is.
What?
I guess it's a new TV spot, like a new. I think they mean just like a teaser trailer for Endgame. I don't know if that's the one we reacted to or not.
Well, that last one was kind of. It felt like a step back. It didn't feel that cool.
It wasn't very cool.
And then the unearned, like I like her.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That was awkward. Like it felt uncomfortable to watch. Did you know, Art, there may be a Jurassic World spin-off series on Netflix?
Why?
It sounds like Dinotopia to me.
It's just like Terminator. Let's just terminate this stuff. Like, let's just stop. The premise has been played out. I don't know what else you can do. Right? Like, it's just nuts.
Well, the title of the show is called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, which is a terrible title in my opinion. There's no other details about it.
Well, it's weird because, okay, and this is the similar, it's the same writer and everything, but, like, let's just go Westworld, okay? Like, Westworld as an idea is basically technology running amok, right?
Yes.
And so then what happens is the tables get turned. So the abusive people that are there, the decadent people that are there, the robots end up having the last laugh on them. They turn on them. So Jurassic Park is the same idea, where you have like science, super science, and then the science turns on the people. Like the illusion of control, right? And so thematically, those are the same. But how do thematically you continue that in a serialized way or even multiple movies? Because at some point, they always end the same. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The robots have to kill everybody, or the dinosaurs have to destroy whatever habitat you created for them.
Yeah, it's not exactly an unpredictable concept. And for a series, like you said, it's, I don't know. For a movie, I feel like there's a lot more forgiveness than for a series.
Yeah, but one movie, or maybe two movies at best. But how do you have the same thing keep happening time and time again and not seem ridiculous?
Yeah, because if you're keeping continuity and that past is happening in the series, like if in the series all those Jurassic Park movies are canon, so this park has failed this many times, your cast or your main characters start to seem like idiots when it happens and it seems unexpected. Like, oh no, what has happened in every incarnation of this park is happening now.
Yeah, every warning sign that was thrown up before is coming up again. Like, I don't know, how many times can you do that before it seems really ridiculous? And so the one thing that they did do good about the new Westworld is that Westworld is kind of less about Westworld as a kind of tight-knit idea and more about robots becoming sentient. You know what I mean? So it's like, what happens when you have this park and you design these robots to interact with people in a very controlled manner, but you give them freedom of will, you know, where you give them like a sentient consciousness. What happens then? It makes them more realistic to, you know, to interact with people that are the guests, but it also, you know, and then they throw in the story, they throw in that they have memories. So thrown in with memories, now these characters have, you know, these robots have consciousness and context.
So where do you draw the line where these things are no longer used for entertainment purposes and might have some kind of rights to their life?
It becomes less about that the robots are going to turn on the humans and more about like, what are the humans going to do with sentient robots now? And then they play in the last the last series that now they're getting off the island, and that they've hinted that some of them have already been off the island. You know, kind of Jurassic Park, like it's not contained anymore. So if you were going to do a third installment of Westworld, it works in succession as a serialized story, because then the next one is they're intermingling with real human beings in the real world, and what is that going to be like? So I think at least they constructed a beginning, middle, and end to this, but then once they tell the human story, then what is there? You know what I mean? Like, what do they do then? Do they become heads of state? Do they try to infiltrate government? Do they, you know what I mean? Like,
how does it affect the world outside of Westworld?
Right, and then the Westworld people know, and then do they start hunting these things down?
It changes the concept a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, because I get what you're getting at. I think that as soon as, okay, like the same thing with Jurassic Park, like, which I think is what you're ultimately getting at, is if it's constrained in a park, you can tell the stories in the park. As soon as it starts affecting the actual world, it starts to beg into question, like, what level of responsibility does this friggin' park have? Like, it changes the whole concept. Like, is this Westworld, or is this we possess dangerous robots that are going to, like, change the world fundamentally? Like, is this a world where Westworld is the only place where they have these robots, or is this a world of robots and Westworld isn't that special because they're just readily available everywhere?
Well, Westworld in the new series, I don't know if you've seen it, it doesn't exist anymore. Westworld is gone. So, but the reason I brought up Westworld as maybe a better example, not so much as a bad example, is that when they constructed the new idea, they constructed it in a way that it could be ongoing. These Jurassic Park movies are just being shoehorned in. There's no overview on how to make each one of the movies serialized in a way that it makes progressive sense to get to an ultimate goal. So I just don't feel like the movies are ever building to anything.
Because it keeps ending the same way.
Yeah, they're structurally exactly the same. And I know there's new generations and stuff, but let's face it, I think the original Jurassic Park still holds up pretty well.
It's still the best one, I think.
So if you were a kid coming in, I think the effects are still reasonably well done and the story is compelling. I don't see any reason why... You know what I mean? There's no reason to keep doing these movies other than their cash grabs.
Because they're the same message. Like, you could have the same experience, if not better, from the first movie. Samurai Sid says, I really liked all the philosophy in Westworld, but I think the show kept getting worse. Also, do they have a soul? Are we gods to robots? Are we gods robots? Do they have a purpose? Etc. Let's just kill everyone and be awful.
Yeah, see, that's the horror aspect, because basically Westworld is the Terminator. That's where, let's face it, that's where Jim Cameron got the idea. So the original is that Yul Brynner character who just doesn't stop, right? He's never going to stop until you kill him. He's just going to keep going after that person, the target. So So it works as kind of a horror movie structure. You know, it's a sci-fi cautionary horror tale.
Yeah.
But as an ongoing, it becomes different, because if you start just creating the robots become homicidal and just start killing the host, then there's no complexity to it. There's no, you know what I mean? Like,
and then there's no debate whether they are actually sentient or unalive, really.
right. So the way, I don't know, this is where that show gets head trippy, because you're not sure if this is the way I take it. There are two creative minds that created Westworld, right? So there's the, what's the old guy that's in the show? What's the actor's name?
Oh my gosh, the guy that plays Hannibal Lecter. I cannot remember his name.
He's one philosophy, and then there was his partner. That's the other philosophy. And so it almost seems like either they worked in conjunction, or they had different ideological beliefs. And one of them, it seemed like his belief was these things need to be sentient. These things need to be set free at some point.
That was Bernard, right?
Yeah.
I only remember his name.
And the other one seemed like he wanted to keep it contained within the park. But like I said, I'm not real clear of that, because the show isn't that crystal clear. But it seems like the inevitable was that the robots were always programmed to become sentient, like they would evolve over time, and that eventually they would kind of synthesize, or they would integrate with humans and mankind. So it seemed like that was always at least one of the creators' goals. And so, you know, it gets convoluted in some of the details, but it seemed like that was the basic idea. So if I'm reading it right, and they do come out with another season, that season should be that they're able to go outside of the park, and they're able to infiltrate the park. And then it's like, what are humans going to do at that point? You know, because the problem is, I think, don't most of the characters that are out, with the exception of, what did you say his name was? The other partner?
There's Bernard, and then
Bernard.
Anthony Hopkins is the actor's name. Thank you, Cryptic.
Right, thanks, Cryptic. Bernard was, he seems like he's the guy that can bring peace between the two. Like, he's a robot, but he believes that they can kind of commingle.
Because he's modeled after that creator.
Right, but then there's that Dolores character who believes in dominance, like that we need to basically destroy humans. Isn't that, like, that's kind of the thing, right?
I think that's what it came down to. Because she's the one that, spoiler alert, at the end of season 1, she's responsible for that, like, massacre, right?
Yeah. And that she sets in motion a lot of the antagonistic stuff in the second season as well. And so she gets off the island, kind of thing.
Oh god, that's scary.
and so does Bernard.
The thing is, I don't know. Do you think the core concept that the robots were built for entertainment at a theme park actually hurts the concept of the show? Because I feel like the movie was interesting because it was set in the theme park. So it was like, there was a body count, like there was major stakes. And Jurassic Park is the same thing. Like, I guess the same example. It's set at a theme park. So what comes with theme parks? There's a bunch of people there. Usually in theme parks, it's a lot of innocent people. And they're there for leisure. So there's a degree of innocence that people are there. But people also kind of let go at theme parks. They kind of cut loose. So it's like maybe these people are behaving in a way they might not normally. So they have that built in. But then both the concepts bring into these dire straits. Like both the movies, not necessarily the show. They both bring in that this danger breaks out. There's a lot of people at stake. And that like stuff gets serious, basically. Interesting for an open and closed story. But for a series that then, and Jurassic Park's doing the same thing, that then opens up to this affects the wider world and do these things have rights? Do you think it's starting at a theme park starts to make it seem a little weirder? Like,
I think I think you're still operating under the first season's storyline.
I haven't seen the second season.
Yeah, the second season kind of makes it. There's Delos or whatever, and it's like a tech. It's a tech company, and there's get this. There's experimentation with immortality, Taylor.
And Jurassic Park's doing the same thing.
Right. So, oh my gosh, remember what was it when they said that granddaughter or whatever, the grandniece?
She's cloned.
She's a clone. Oh my!
I'm a clone, and these dinosaurs are clones, and we're valid.
Oh my gosh!
Which, by the way, it's like you're a clone. It doesn't mean you're the same human being. It's not creating immortality by you being a new body. You are not that person.
Well, what a lot of the funding for not Jurassic Park, but Westworld was it was funded by a tech company. I think that they were very smart here because it's like if you even take the Disney model, like Disney partnered with a lot of people to make his like early pavilions and like the World's Fairs and stuff like that. So they would get investors, like, and a lot of times they were tech or state of the arts, like Monsanto or whoever was these tech guys of the time would come in and invest in these things. So that Delos was a early investor in the park, which is that man in black. He ends up inheriting that company, but there was his father-in-law or something like that. That was the head.
He married into it.
Right, he married into it. And so then the dad or his stepfather was dying, and he had Alzheimer's.
He's
no,
still
it wasn't
alive
Alzheimer's.
at that point?
He was dying. No, you know how they bounce back and forth in time? Like
that threw me off. That's one aspect of the show that I never liked.
The first season, it doesn't work at all. In the second season, it works a lot better. I think the second season, they got a lot of the stuff worked out, and it's a little bit more, it's seemingly more coherent, and maybe it's because the first season sets up a lot of stuff. But anyways, that guy's dying. He's got some kind of terminal illness, and he wants immortality. So one of the things they're doing is they're playing upon like possibly putting his consciousness into one of these robots, these organic robots.
Because he's dying. Okay.
And so one of the things that's pretty horrifying, and it's kind of a cool idea, is that they keep basically making new stepdads.
What? Like
yeah, and so they have trials. They have ongoing trials, and based on, you know, how they go through it and out of time, like you don't know that it's maybe a different guy each time he comes in.
So it seems like this could just be the stepdad interacting, then you find out these are different versions of him possibly.
Right. And so it gets very interesting, and then at one point, you know, because you have the man in black interacting with him as a younger guy, and then you have him interacting with him as an older guy. So when he comes in as an older guy, he does the same ritual. Like every time he comes in, he brings in like some whiskey or some scotch or something like that. And so then he keeps saying the same line. So they do the same song and dance each time. So what happens is the robots, the stepdad, they only can go so long before like this weird deterioration. And so then they kind of get onset like Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Yeah, and
so they have that flaw too.
Right. So they can't really sustain in a real world environment, or as close as a real world environment. These robots cannot sustain.
But is it because
they can only sustain in Westworld?
Okay, so it's the robot bodies that have the flaw, not the consciousness?
I don't know. I only watched the season once, so I'm not really sure what the science parameters are of it. But I hope we're not boring everybody. We probably are.
Samurai Sid's on board.
Okay.
He says they have a Matrix world.
Yeah, then they got into a whole like virtual world.
That gets into a whole other thing though.
But oh my gosh, Taylor, this thing is, I don't want to say it's all over the place, because the second season is fairly focused, but there is some kind of weird elements that they're addressing or bringing into it, and they're kind of bringing in some kind of like Oh my gosh, this is gonna be horrible. It's gonna sound horrible. Like where they could swap
Oh no.
bodies or something, because I don't remember how it worked out, but the one girl, like Dolores, she gets off the island, but she gets off the island in the consciousness or the body of the one girl that was overseeing.
Oh
the park.
no.
Yeah.
So are they coexisting, or is she just in her body?
I think she takes over her body.
Is that Samurai Sid said, I hate Evan Rachel Wood's character. I'd rather Thandie Newton was the leader. Is Evan Rachel Wood, are you familiar with that name? Is that the act?
She's Dolores, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then I think he's talking about maybe in conjunction, because they're like the same character as the saloon girl.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which one's which. I'm gonna look them up right now.
Yeah, they kind of work as the same
Character.
Yeah.
Evan Rachel Wood. Let's see. Evan Rachel Wood is the Dolores character, who always looks very sad, and Thandie, which makes me, yeah, that's the saloon girl. I hate saying the name Thandie because it sounds like you're saying Sandy with a lisp.
You're like John Travolta in Grease.
Thandie.
Thandie.
You better shape up, cause I'm a robot. They killed my daughter 5 times.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. It does get into a weird Matrix-y kind of thing, but if they are robot consciousness, right? They have like a robot brain, then like why not, right? They can just go and be teleported into some kind of mainframe, right?
Oh, I don't know about this. This is like
they don't show, but to be honest, they don't show them in that mainframe. They just show them go to this paradise.
Okay, I don't know.
And you get the feeling like they're dead.
This is becoming Black Mirror.
Yeah, it gets really bizarre. It gets very heady. But I guess just to back up, like our point was that at least it seemed like that they had an ongoing idea of how to make it work as an ongoing.
How many? I don't know. How many seasons do you think this thing has?
They only have one more season at tops, at best, because
this is already losing the concept.
Right. So basically, the show is at where I love this movie. No, not Ex Machina. What is the movie with the Poe Dameron guy?
Yeah, that's Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Very good movie.
Yeah, I think some people missed the point that Taylor and I picked up, that it becomes a horror movie at the end. It becomes a Frankenstein monster movie.
It's a very haunting ending.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, we're gonna have a robot in society and everything's gonna be great.
No,
that character just killed 2 people without conscience. I think this is gonna be a scary future. But anyways, it seems like not Jurassic Park, but
that was Freudian.
They're like the same ideas.
They're going the exact same direction and hitting the same kind of beats minus the Matrix aspect.
But it seems like that where Westworld will be going is that storyline that would take up right after Ex Machina.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent to it.
Because also, like in Ex Machina, the thing I didn't like about that movie, I liked the premise and the way they set it all up. Like, okay, if you cage a sentient or an animal or something that's alive, it doesn't have freedom. So eventually, like a tiger, even if it appreciates being fed every day, will want its freedom and will bite the hand.
Yeah.
Or it will try to escape.
Is it a part?
Hamsters try to escape their cage. Like it's just kind of an innate...
Is it a part that defines something as being alive and having an identity to want to be free?
To be free, right. And so you have this character in Ex Machina that seems like she wants to be free. So she uses all these human traits to trick this guy, even feminine wiles, to trick this guy to setting her free. And it's absolutely brilliant up to the point where she not only kills her captive, which is like fine, but she kind of kills him unnecessarily. and she doesn't do it with conscience. Like, she doesn't feel bad about it.
Very mechanically.
Yeah, she kind of does it, and she's very, like, matter of fact, like, who cares? And then there's the guy that helped her get out, that's locked in, like, that safe room or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she just leaves him there to starve to death and dehydrate.
He's left to die in the worst way.
Right. He's going to be fully aware that he's dying every day.
And nobody
there's nothing
knows
he can do.
Yeah, nobody knows where he is. He's in, spoiler alert, he's in a remote place, so he's assumably just going to die in this safe room. He can't escape.
Yeah, and so then we're supposed to kind of cheer for her at the end when she goes into the city and she finally gets her fantasy, right? Like, I just want to be on a street corner amongst, busy traffic or whatever, intermingling with humans or whatever
everybody else,
her thing was. And so you have that at the end.
I got goosebumps. It's so eerie.
Right. But the thing is, she just killed these two people, one in complete cold blood. Like, that's not a human trait. Like, if that Poe Dameron guy made a move, like a physical move, and said, you cannot go, and then he actually confronted her in a physical way, and then inevitably or inadvertently, he dies, or she kills him, like she pushes him, and he hits his head on something, or something that's seemingly not as calculated as the way she does it, then it's kind of like, you can still be sympathetic to her. And then if she let that guy loose, or something like that, the guy in the cage, because she essentially does to him what they did to her, and then we're supposed to be cheering for her as now she's the freed animal. She's free to live her life. But at what cost? She killed two human beings.
There's a super bad, I'm sorry if anyone in the chat liked this movie, but it's a horrible movie. There's a super bad Canadian movie that came out around the same time as Ex Machina called The Machine. Have you ever?
I remember hearing it. I don't think I saw it.
But there's a similar. There's an accidental death scene. The robot accidentally kills one person, and even though I know it's a really bad movie and it looks very low budget, there's one part that feels like a very natural, like accidental kind of death, because oh god, the movie starts out with a really strong concept, and then it just goes off the rails. It's like an AI chick, and they're trying to test if she's conscious or not. But she's modeled after her creator, because this chick created her basically doing like an AI map of herself to show that it can be done. And her original concept was like, if people get brain injuries and stuff, you can kind of recreate who they are, kind of thing.
Okay.
And
the missing pieces or whatever you can...
Yeah, like the basic, like they can make new memories, and they have the basic personality of who they are, because it basically traces the little idiosyncrasies that make you human, like irrational fears, etc. So they have this robot girl, and she has like, they're trying to test if she has the same weird idiosyncrasies as her like creator, but she's like a new person. So one of the things they had in like the questionnaire is that the original creator's like afraid of clowns or whatever. So this guy comes in dressed up as a clown to scare her, and she like goes, ah, and freaks out, and she punches him in the throat and collapses his windpipe, and he ends up dying. And then, like, after, she's like, oh my gosh, like, what was that? And they're like, you just killed him. Like, we have to do all this stuff now. And then she says, so she only understands things in an abstract way. She's like, I didn't know a clown was a man. I thought it was a different, like, its own thing. So they realized that without the concept of real world things and having those irrational things, they don't really make you the same person, if that makes sense.
No, those are good ideas. I think that good sci-fi is based on those ideas, right? I mean, those are interesting philosophical and, like arguments. That's one of my favorite sci-fi stories of all time is Frankenstein, because I think Frankenstein was the story that gave birth to those ideas.
Yeah, it's technically the first sci-fi story. It's very good. But yeah, Ex Machina, don't go into it thinking it's like a robot action movie like a lot of people did. It's kind of more of a philosophical slow burn. It's very good. Oscar
Isaac is freaking brilliant in that movie.
He's so good in that movie.
That's my favorite performance of that guy.
I didn't know that it was the same guy for the longest time.
When he does that dance with that robot, holy crap. It's one of the... You know, like, I know I have, like, weird tastes and stuff, but it's one of my favorite cinematic moments of all time. It's so surreal and odd, but it fits the tone. You know what I mean? Like, it fits that character. It fits the tone of everything. It's so awesome. You know
It's
the scene
really
I'm talking
good.
about, right?
Yes, he's perfectly in sync with her when they do that little jump.
It's a weird, like, karate dance or something. It looks like a kata / like choreographed dance. It's really
very
bizarre.
funny. Samurai said fear of clowns could be a genetic memory. Yeah, I think that's what happens in the movie. It's really weird. I remember midway through that movie, I like lost major interest, but I always thought that part was like an interesting concept.
I think some of those type of movies, like Ex Machina, definitely feels like a non-Hollywood film.
Yes.
And I think for those type of films to really exist and be well done, I don't know if they can be like studio films, like big studio films, because like you take something, I know we talk about it a lot, but like the Aliens, what was it? The one where they were trying to find God.
Oh, Prometheus.
You realize that movie just gets in its own way, like, because it tries to become like some kind of Hollywood Aliens movie, where if that was done without like the baggage, like if that same idea was done without Ridley Scott and without the big Hollywood beast behind it, I think it would have been better, because maybe they could have pursued the idea in a more, I don't know, detailed way instead of kind of wussing out on it.
Yeah, they didn't really have the guts to tackle the pitch that they gave.
It never made good on the promise of like, is there a God, or any of those philosophical
because they really
ideas.
couldn't answer it, but then it's just an unsatisfactory story.
Yeah, but okay, if you can answer it, then come up with the, you know, the misdirect that is equally as satisfying. You know, it just felt like then it just goes into another adventure, like you know, like it didn't even really matter.
Yeah. Speaking of adventures, did you know that Jeff Wildlow has been signed on to direct, or I guess adapt the Danger Girls series into a movie?
Oh, good.
I hate his directing.
Well, I mean, good for J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah, I wish somebody better was at the helm. If anybody knows work that he's done that hasn't, you know, that's been better, he is the director of Kick-Ass 2 and the absolutely terrible movie Truth or Dare. Kick-Ass 2 wasn't, I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of that series in general. It's interesting that he's taking on another comic book property, which could be interesting, just because Truth or Dare is a really weird, it seems like a starter movie. Like, for him to do that after Kick-Ass 2, I thought was really bizarre. So, who knows? It might be really interesting. J. Scott Campbell and Andy Hartnell are going to be executive producers of the movie.
Oh, good.
Which
I'm
is
glad.
cool. Let's see. The producer, also Robert Koltzer, said, looking at Danger Girl's lead character, Abby Chase, and her posse of thrill-seeking femme fatales, female empowerment and wish fulfillment have never been more fun.
Okay.
Jeremy Bolt said, Danger Girl is the perfect opportunity to create a team of grounded, relatable, and dangerous young female characters, but with humor and spectacular action.
Grounded?
They're not grounded at
and
all.
Relatable?
I would drop that part and say it's going to be funny and have spectacular action, because if I was describing Danger Girl, I would never say ever that it was grounded.
Or that it was relatable, like those characters as relatable as like James Bond or like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's really, well, I guess that Abby Chase has some backstory, kind of like
but that's kind of wish fulfillment-y backstory.
Her dad is, spoiler alert, is the villain guy or whatever that guy is. Right?
I think so. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time.
The guy with the mask, like the Racer X type character. Like he looks like Racer X.
That's right.
Because he has a picture of her like as a little girl or something at the end.
I think he does.
I worked on that book, so I remember it.
It was very popular.
It was a #1 book. Like every time it came out, it took the #1 slot.
It's hard because it's a property that I feel like has kind of inadvertently been adapted already by many things. Like a lot of stuff has imitated it in Hollywood.
It's Charlie's Angels meets Indiana Jones or meets Tomb Raider. We all know Tomb Raider is definitely a female. She's a female Indiana Jones. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the first movie, kind of gave her own identity, I thought.
I used to really, really love the games. Apparently the Blacklist writer, this is very confusing to me. I was trying to find something about this because Danger Girl's script is being written by Umair Alim, and I don't know a whole lot about him.
Oh, he's good.
It says that it says Blacklist writer, which made me think like, is this a Mike thing? But I guess not. Blacklist writer. I don't know who he is, if anybody's familiar with him. Apparently he wrote some Netflix things. Interesting. Apparently it's the rabid genre film devotee Alim's feature Kate sold to Netflix. I don't know what that is. I wish I could advise more about this, but that's the writer of the new Danger Girl movie.
I mean, if they choose to focus on the fun action adventure aspects of that idea, the comic book, I can't see it being a bad film. It's all going to come down to if they can keep the level of fun in it, don't get too angsty with it, don't get too like preachy with it. Keep the action adventure fun and cast, for goodness sake, cast the right actresses.
Yes.
Don't make them uptighty and I don't know. I can't think of any of the words that aren't going to be derogatory. They have to kind of be fun.
They gotta be cool.
Yeah, cool characters. I mean, there's the one that's kind of like the bad character, and she's got a little bit of a, what up her butt. But the other two characters are pretty seemingly fun.
It's gonna be very dependent, like you said, I think, on having a really good lead, and I can't think of one off the top of my head that I would cast. Can you think of anybody?
You know what? I did have one. I thought she was the living embodiment of Abby Chase as a character. She even had a similar haircut. She was in, I think, the last Star Trek, and she was kind of that little cute blonde that was the daughter of that militant RoboCop guy. The actor.
I liked that girl.
Yeah, she's adorable.
She would be very good.
And she's good. And she was in The Last Men in Black. She was the little British girl that played M or whatever.
Was she?
Yeah, she was the younger version that had the crush on Kay.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that was her.
Yeah. Yeah, it's her.
That could be interesting.
And if I'm not mistaken, and I probably am because they probably are two different actresses, but there was a Charlie's Angels TV show, and maybe if you can Google, see if it's the same actress, because they actually, I thought the TV show, it didn't last very long, but I thought the TV show Charlie's Angels was actually better casting than the movies that they did. If the movies didn't have, what's that weirdo's name, the actor that was in, he was Marty McFly or whatever.
Marty McFly?
What's that actor's name?
Oh, he was in it? I can't remember the actor's...
He's the villain in it.
Oh, that's weird.
And he's the best part of that movie.
I don't even remember that.
What is that guy's name?
I mean, I'm sure he answers to Marty McFly. I don't know why I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I only know him as Marty McFly.
Help us out, chat. What's the actor that played Marty McFly? Title says, if there's anything that will happen about Danger Girl, it will be preachy. I hope not.
I hope not too.
That's gonna kill the fun. I can't find the current. It's really hard to search for Charlie's Angels without the old Charlie's Angels coming up.
Yeah, I don't know how long it lasted. I don't think it lasted very long, so it's probably not much of a blip on Google.
I kind of remember what you're talking about though. That was gosh, like mid 2000s.
Yeah. I watched the pilot, and I think that was it.
Well, did you know that I guess Marvel has announced a couple characters that they have slotted, or at least has potential to be in the Marvel MCU?
Who's that?
Apparently, I can't tell if this is speculation or if this is, I guess a lot of places are talking about this. I don't think this is an official announcement. I'm just going to preface this. The article I'm reading is saying that these are all hinted at. I don't know if these have been hinted at. I think this is a lot of fan speculation. One of them is Spectrum, who is a Monaco Rambeau, of course.
I already speculated on that, yeah.
Did you speculate on Wonder Man?
No, but I did hear some internet. Why? Okay, whatever.
I don't know. Like, apparently Nathan Fillion has expressed interest in that. Hercules.
You know what? If there was going to be a Wonder Man movie, I think he would be ideal to be Wonder Man.
I could see that. There's speculation that he might make a cameo in Guardians 3.
Because Wonder Man, which they're going to base it on, I think he was an actor or something.
Oh, is he?
So, I don't know. I'm not in...
Here it is. Hero turned actor's brain patterns. Yes.
Yeah. So, I thought he played a pretty good kind of writer, Hollywood type in that Castle TV show.
You know what? I could see that. The more you say it, the more it kind of works. Hercules, who used to be, or I guess he still kind of is, was one of my favorite Marvel characters ever. I like when he gives Thor shit, and the Incredible Hercules run used to be really good. I know it got really bad, but during the Love and War saga, it was very good.
It's okay, Taylor, if you like, certain books.
I mean, the Love and War series is really good, but then they depowered him, and that book got real bad real fast. Cersei, who isn't that basically, isn't she kind of a lot like Scarlet Witch? Spider-Woman, the Jessica Drew version, who I also used to like, but is now a complete mess. And I guess those are the characters that have been hinted at.
Oh, okay. Did anybody in the chat go, wow, cool? I can't wait.
Crispin Glover.
That's the guy. That's the weirdo, yeah.
Do you mean George McFly? Yes.
George, yeah. Marty's the
that's Michael J. Fox.
Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox,
We meant George.
I always think the weird one's Marty, because he seems like he should be a Marty and the other one should be a George. Doesn't Michael J. Fox seem more like a George character?
I don't know. George and Marty. Marty's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's thrilled about the Marvel stuff, because Thor and Herc together would be quite good. But yeah, he's the only one that I thought was interesting as well.
I think Hemsworth and anybody would be cool.
I don't know who they'd cast as Herc, though.
The Rock.
Ew, no. Wait, Kevin Feige's expressed interest? No, keep him away.
In what?
In doing a Eternals movie.
Kevin Feige?
Yeah.
Kevin Feige's the head of Marvel.
Is he doing it? Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? Oh my gosh. I was thinking of, this is so stupid. I read Feige and I thought Feig. You know Paul Feig?
Oh, Paul Feig, yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Sorry, Kevin Feige. I should never have confused you for Paul Feig.
Kevin has not derailed himself in my eyes yet.
Paul Feig, however, who is very bizarre. Let's see.
Man, he got all indignant with that ghost. He's the Ghostbusters guy, right?
Yes. What else?
All defensive.
He did. He was the one that said everybody was like a woman hater.
Yeah.
And
maybe he's a woman hater. That's why he made that movie.
Ooh. He did it on purpose.
He did to discredit the female race.
That'd be hilarious.
You heard it here, guys. Spread the word. Go to Twitter.
Say Paul Feig wants to ruin Hercules.
Paul Feig hates women.
It's all a part of his master plan. Let's see. Shazam's already ready for... People really want Shazam to get incorporated in the DCU with Justice League. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I like him on his own.
I think it works probably best on its own as well.
I want to be big. And then they'll play that big time song by Peter Gabriel. And then it'll be what is his name? Levy?
Zachary
Levy. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be bad, says Fudd.
Big time.
Hardware Wars says, how about a Doc Savage or Alan Quartermain reboot?
Now you're talking.
Connery probably still owns Quartermain.
I don't know about Quartermain, but oh my god.
Doc Savage I'm on board for.
Doc Savage would be cool. I love all those pulp heroes.
Did you work on Doc Savage?
I did. I worked on it with Howard Porter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Fun stuff.
I think
and I don't know, I'm sorry. I don't know if many people know this, and I don't know if Pixar's ever come out and said this, but that character in Up, that adventure guy that ventures out there, that is Doc Savage, man. That character is totally like just riffing on that guy.
Yeah, he's obviously based on him, I think. There's not, I don't know, was that an archetype that was kind of popularized by Doc Savage? Because I know that now we have Indiana Jones. There's a lot of characters that are like that. I know Alan Quartermain is like a really old version of that, but I feel like Doc Savage is the one that kind of popularized it.
I don't know, Doc Savage was a little more science, and like there's a little bit of sci-fi stuff thrown in there too, where Alan Quartermain is more kind of like he's a old school adventurer, like hunter, and
Age of exploration.
Action adventure kind of,
Interesting. Let's see. Marvel Comics. Tom King teases Catwoman at a huge event in Batman 75. I've kind of lost interest on that.
Well, since their little stunt with like they're gonna get married and then they didn't get married, I'm like, really? Gosh, this is really bad.
Boy, that sure was fun.
We're gonna get people all riled up to collect all these books and everything, and guess what? It's never gonna happen. Therefore,
rendering it a non-event anyway. Let's see. I think they should branch out from Shazam instead of bringing him in the DCEU, says Cryptic.
I agree.
Yeah.
Keep in his own universe. I think it works better. I think Shazam in a world where Superman exists is weird.
Agreed. It gives us, especially the current tone of Superman, I think.
Because you can't delve with the innocence and stuff as much, because at some point it's going to look like a bunch of adults picking on a kid. You know what I mean? Because his intellect will not be, what theirs is. Even the dullest character in the DC universe as an adult is probably sharper than Billy Batson because he's a child. His intellect stays the same. He's just like in a Superman body. So matching wits, or like I don't know, I just think it would feel like you're picking on a kid.
It definitely will, because all the jokes are going to be at the expense of like, haha, like he's a kid, he doesn't know things.
It's like you're in the Oval Office, right? And you're trying to come up with some kind of solution for some kind of world problems, and you have a 10-year-old kid there, that looks like an adult.
Yeah.
And he just keeps, throwing out potty humor, which is pretty much just me, but yeah.
But darn it, you know what we mean.
But dang darn it, I want ice cream.
Did you know that, speaking of reboots and stuff, which we weren't on, we were a while ago, did you know that Toxic Avenger is getting a reboot by the very, very talented director Macon Blair?
Wasn't there a theme song, The Toxic Avenger?
Yes, I believe that there was. He's getting a reboot. And Macon Blair is the director of Blue Ruin and Green Room, which are both very good movies that are really weird.
Well, it's about time there was a reboot.
I know, we need the Toxic Avenger.
With his mop.
Make comics weird again. Oh yeah, he was a janitor, right?
I always remember like going to San Diego Comic Convention, and even as a younger guy, there would always be the Toxic Avenger booth. I think it's still legendary. I think it's still there. It's like there's always the what is that angry flower guy?
Oh yeah.
And there's always the Tick booth. You know, there's always like these mainstays to the convention. I hope they always stay there. We just lost, what was his name? Macabre. The attorney Macabre. What the hell was that? Oh my gosh. He actually died recently. It was a lawyer. They were lawyers to the supernatural. Something Macabre.
Oh my god, it sounds really familiar.
And they're always there. I just thought that's going to be sad because he died this past year after San Diego, so he probably won't have a booth.
Aww.
What were they called? The something of the Macabre.
I gotta try to find this.
Was it Macabre? Lawyers to the Macabre? Attorneys to the Macabre or something?
Let us know in the chat if this is ringing a bell to you. If you've spent a lot of time at San Diego Comic-Con, kind of a staple part of the con culture. Because now we don't have, we don't have the big comic booth. I'm trying to think of all the stuff that's gone now.
Oh, Mile High is gone, and what was the big bookstore that pulled out? It was the guy's name, I think.
Albert Moy?
No.
It's the giant art book
yeah,
area.
It was like they had like a whole aisle that was like a bookstore.
It was pretty cool.
I love that place. I dropped so much.
El Cid. Let's see. El Cid. No, what are you guys talking about? There's something else. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. It's such very crazy. It is a guy's name, isn't it?
Which? Oh, the bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost said stewarding, but that's
That's what Stuart Eaton wants to. That's what he's kind of becoming.
Yeah, he's kind of a smaller version. Let's see. I don't know. The con is definitely changing a lot.
It's definitely becoming more Hollywood.
Yeah, it's not really. We talked about it before. It's not really a Comic-Con per se anymore. Sad as it may be. I'm reading all this comic book news, and it's making me realize how little Marvel books I read these days.
Yeah, I think you and the rest of the comic book reading population.
We were talking about it earlier, how we're kind of making the comics we want to read right now.
Oh yeah.
Because these Marvel comics right now I'm reading the headlines about sound pretty terrible, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think that like right now, especially here at Hack Shack, you know, it's like see a need, fill a need. So I think just based on Taylor's Ike's personality, that I just like fun stuff, like fun action adventure. I can appreciate something, a deep read like, you know, Alan Moore's books and stuff like that, but I think overall I more like just the fun action adventure aspects to a lot of these stories.
Yeah.
And I believe a lot of that is seriously lacking. So everything that comes out of Hack Shack Studios is definitely going to put a smile on your face, and it's going to be a good run. It's going to be a good action adventure run, because I just think that if you don't have escapism, then what the hell are we doing? Like, if you want angst and real world stuff, then go out in the real world. You know, there's plenty of that to be seen. I think we need to entertain people. They need to feel like, you know, they're getting away from those things for a while. And also a certain level of wish fulfillment, because the thing is, you know, for a young person or whatever, what's more comforting to know that the bad guy is going to be caught and be put away. I mean, that's a comforting thought. And even if you're an older person, it's kind of a nice idea that at least in a comic book it exists that the bad guys get theirs in the end, you know? Like, I know that that's not the real world always. I know that sometimes people get away with murder, and I'm not saying comics have to be that always, but I'm definitely not seeing that as much in comics. There really is kind of this everything, just this gray area feel to everything.
But you know where you're not gonna get that is black and white.
Congratulations, you took the bait. I set him up, you knock him down.
In a world where law and order are often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, Mike is here.
Hey, Mike. Mike S?
He is, and he was there to deliver the name Bud Plant, which is, of course,
Bud
the,
Plant, yes, oh my gosh, my daughter just brought in donuts. Look at this.
Oh my gosh, they look beautiful on screen.
I'm gonna which one do you want?
Whichever one you don't want.
You don't get either one.
No.
I'm gonna lick both of them. Then you're not gonna want any.
I'll just touch
I'm gonna give
the
you.
plate.
I'm gonna give you the fancy one because it's more girly.
Ew, the one with the swirl?
You the swirly
Sweet.
one. You get the swirly.
That's the one I wanted, but I didn't want to say anything to sway your offer.
I'm going bold chocolate.
Fudd says, now that's salesmanship.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad. And if you guys haven't checked out Mike S. Miller's book, The Meg, it's still in demand.
Yeah, check it out. Get the Meg, get a bundle of books, and pick up Black and White. We should probably start calling this soon.
No, we're never going to leave.
I'm going to eat this donut right into the mic.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Donut grease stretch goal, says Hardware Wars.
Donuts don't have grease. They're made out of heavenly ingredients.
It's soggy.
It's going straight to my thighs.
It's delicious. Mighty Geek Studio says, bonjour, Mademoiselle Taylor. Oh, bonjour.
Is that because of the fancy donut?
I guess. He didn't say hi to you. He didn't say... Oh, no, he said greetings, everyone. And then he said okay.
So I'm just everyone.
I guess.
Get it.
You didn't get a...
I get it.
You didn't get a Mademoiselle or a...
He's not one of my people.
Fancy Donuts by Thibert sounds real, says Samurai Sid.
That'll be our next Indiegogo. Fancy Donuts by Sid.
That'd be cool.
Sid's like some kind of donut. Ooh, high-tech donut designer.
Ooh. I want a designer donut shop. That'd be cool. You can read your comics and eat your donuts and... I almost choked up complaining about Marvel.
Heimlich.
I didn't want the last movie I talked about to be Jurassic World.
No one wants that to be their last. What if that was the last movie you ever saw?
Oh my gosh, I have nightmares about stuff like that.
Would that be depressing?
I mean, I can think of a worse movie, but I would be very sad that I went on that note.
You could think of a worse movie? Quick, what's the worst movie?
Sahara.
Okay.
I hate that movie.
All right. Done. There was a Jurassic movie after the Jurassic movie we saw at that premiere.
That's right. You know, we saw Jurassic World in style. That was cool.
I never saw the one after that. Did you?
I didn't. But I heard horrible things about it and watched many a review.
Yeah.
Do you have a most hated movie, Art?
You know what my new most hated movie is? Are you sitting down? It's Fantastical Beasts.
1 or 2?
The second one.
Why?
That's a cluster F, man. You know what? Everybody should watch that movie just to see how much money and how many truly creative individuals can get together and make a colossal piece of, I should just say POS. Like, that movie is, I can't even, like how sometimes we'll watch a movie and go, oh, if they would have just changed this, this, and this, right? Like you can find maybe one or two things.
You
that
can
if they
diagnose it.
Right, they could fix this, and then it would be a way better movie. This movie, I don't even know where to begin. Like, it is so horrible. There is, other than the art direction itself, the movie is so bad. Whenever I see movies like this, I always feel bad for all the artisans, the craftspeople, the storyboard guys, all the guys that were like really, really labored, and that you can see it on the screen that it's beautiful looking, the lighting guys and all that. And then you just see the movie and you go, no one's ever going to care because this movie is so bad.
Well, let me ask you this.
No.
Do you think the flaw was just in the inception, like in the writing, or do you think it was poorly directed?
I think it's the same brain trust that did all the Harry Potter films and then did that first Fantastic Beasts, which is, I think that first Fantastic Beasts is actually pretty good. It's a lot of fun. I actually like it in a lot of ways. I like it better than even the Harry Potter films.
That's pretty good praise.
And so I thought it was an interesting premise about this guy with animals and all this other stuff. And then the second movie just becomes a cluster F of a billion characters. I think the main problem is that J.K. Rowling's just having way too many ideas and not knowing how to focus them into a 2-hour movie. Even though they say she wrote that first screenplay, after watching that second movie, I don't think she wrote that second screenplay alone, because she does not seem like she understands the film format at all. And I believe that the brain trust that's working with her ended up becoming yes men on this film because nobody reels it in.
George Lucas syndrome.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Their characters are just being introduced constantly.
You mean like Nagini? One of the worst characters to exist.
There's a lot of stuff like that. It's really bad. But I think if anybody has any curiosity to see how you can have people at the top of their game, like so many people at the top of their game, still put in, and make a POS, that is the movie.
I mean, it can happen. It can happen to you.
But not us here at Hack Shack.
No, we haven't been bought by those Hollywood stooges yet. So if you're a Hollywood stooge and you want to buy a really good property,
we're open to it.
It's a good time here.
I just think that she's trying, and I don't know this for sure, but I think she's trying to shoehorn power in, and maybe she's delving into a art form that she doesn't clearly understand, which is film.
I mean, I could see that because and I haven't read this, so this isn't from like my direct, but she wrote that play. There's a Harry Potter play that she wrote. It's like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I don't know what it's called, but she got a lot of criticism about that storytelling wise. And writing a play is obviously different than writing a screenplay, but I would say more similar than writing a book. So, yeah, maybe she just doesn't quite translate in that same manner.
Yeah. There's definitely something. And the film people that she's hired to work with her, I just don't think that they reeled it in. You know what I mean? They didn't say, that's not going to work in this movie. Like, we need to kind of focus this on really one or two elements, because movies are just 2-hour adventures and they're very limited. You can't get too multidimensional and you can't bring too many aspects to it because it just becomes too unfocused. I think usually these movies work best when there's some kind of unifying theme that's throughout the movie, like loss of a loved one, or forbidden love, or like whatever these premises are, and then they kind of keep that focus throughout the movie. But for the life of me, I could not tell you what this movie was supposed to be about.
That is not good. So it was an unfocused mess.
Yeah, it was a real unfocused mess. And I thought because I read behind the scenes stuff for that first Fantastic Beasts, and I was like, oh, she wrote it? And then I was kind of praising her. I was thinking, wow, man, the screenplay is pretty good. And
I mean, rightfully so.
yeah, and then now I seriously doubt that it was her in that first movie. I know we can all have flukes and stuff like that, but man, that second movie isn't even close to becoming successful. Like, it never, ever brings you in
Sorry, Joe.
to the world at all. Like, you don't care about anything. I've never seen a movie more detached and more unfocused, I think, in my entire life.
Really?
Especially based on the talent that worked on it. You know what I mean? Like, these weren't just like newbies that didn't know what they were doing. These guys created a whole film franchise.
That's why it's strange.
Yeah, it was the three of those guys. It's the same people.
I mean, that does happen. It's always really bizarre when it happens. There's another movie we were talking about. I cannot think of what it is at the top of my head that had the same... Well, like the Highlander stuff had the same creative team for a while.
At least the first two movies did.
And it got real weird. It was way off. Let's see. Boop.
Yes, we're back to the Dick Show. Yeah, should we start trying to wrap this up?
Yeah, we've been going for quite a while. Thank you guys who've all stuck around. Mighty Geek Studio says, don't you dare sell out to those cannibals. We wouldn't unless we knew that it was the right fit
Yeah.
as far as Hollywood goes.
What Taylor's saying is the right amount of cashola.
Yeah, so if J.K. Rowling wants to go to writing camp for movies or something, I don't know.
No, we wouldn't do that. We have more integrity than that.
We care.
Yeah, because I think at this point, right, you put so much of your blood, sweat, and tears in these projects that you don't want to just turn it over to
just anyone.
Yeah, you want it to be successful. So you got to find somebody that you trust to be able to do a good job with it.
Definitely.
So, thanks everybody for hanging out. This feels like it was an epic adventure that we just went on, and we appreciate the super chats. Thank you so much. Thanks for the conversation in the chat, and thanks to our guest chat. Was it Gary and Mike?
Yes, thank you, and thanks for sticking around. This was a fun one. You guys are welcome anytime to this is why we do this live, for the interaction, so that we can get on tangent and start debating about Westworld and Jurassic Park.
It seems to always come back to similar things, though, doesn't it?
It does. We definitely have like a core interest of movies, comics, weird things. I think it's all creative. It's all creative stuff.
Yeah, but it's all fun. And don't forget, you guys, tomorrow, are we still at 2 o'clock?
I believe they're on for 2, yeah.
At 2 o'clock.
Is it 2 or 1? I'm sorry to plant the seed of...
I don't know. Can you check real quick?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to see, because I think it might be 1 o'clock, but we're going to check with the
Everybody's like, what are you guys talking about? We're talking about Kiss Corner, the greatest YouTube show you'll ever see. Where we talk for about an hour or so about Kiss and the many aspects of it. And oh my gosh, which album are oh man, does Scott send? That's Scott, right?
Yeah, there's some drummer pictures.
I remember those drums. Yeah, so what we're gonna do tomorrow at either 1 or 2 o'clock, we have our illustrious guests. We have Kevin Conrad, which you might know from comic book history.
I believe it's 1, but
of Spawn. Worked on Spawn and worked with Greg Capullo and all kinds of great artists. He did the artwork for Psycho Circus, Kiss Psycho Circus. And then we have Scott Palacios, who's a near and dear old friend. We kind of came up the ranks playing music in clubs and backyards together. And he's now working as a, multimedia, right? Like
Sound
audio, visual.
Yeah.
So he puts shows together now. So he does sound for like different bands and audio visual for different bands and stuff like that. I think he's also works as an engineer, musical engineer in studios and things like that. So he's very, very talented, very knowledgeable, and loves the hell out of Kiss. And
You'll love him. He's great.
Since he was a kid. And then we have Taylor Grosso, who is kind of a newbie, but she is catching up quickly to all the Kiss lore. And I think the cool thing about what Taylor brings to the show is she likes all that kind of the more I guess internal stories.
Oh yeah.
Like and the weird stories circling around Kiss.
Definitely there for the weird. If you're not into Kiss as a band, you're gonna be into Kiss just for their weird stories. Kiss has its own lore all its own that is hilarious and terrifying, and you can tune in for those type of stories. And all the guys are drummers. So they got band stories of their own as well.
And that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. Oh, and I'm in Kiss Corner just for the heck of it. Like I don't even know why I'm there half the time. Like I'm just there, and I just try to steer things in directions. No, you guys, when I was 12, 13, I was the biggest Kiss fan, and they were definitely a gateway to my musical journey that I ended up going on, and probably why I like more heavier rock, you know, more like metal and stuff like that, because they were kind of metalish, I guess, in the early days or whatever.
Definitely.
So so we're gonna talk about that, and so on the show tomorrow we're gonna share what is it in our like our early garage days, I guess, as band.
Yes.
So it's gonna be audio and visual. So we're gonna have recordings. You guys, okay, if you guys want to see old art, like when I was in my heyday playing music with my long hair, we have a friend of mine brought this recording of an old metal band I played with, so we're gonna have that.
It's awesome.
And then we're gonna find old photos of ourselves, and I think Kevin and Scott have old recordings of the bands that they played in, so we're gonna have that. And then Taylor's, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna play the drums? What are you gonna do?
Oh gosh, the only thing I can play is a recorder. I can bring one in and try to play it.
Are you serious?
I haven't played it in years. I don't know where it is. I can try to find it.
Wait, I always get that mixed up. Is it a flute type instrument?
Yes. It
Okay,
is.
okay. It's like those fairies and pixies playing, right? Is that like Renaissance pleasure fair music?
Oh no, it's not as cool as that. It's like an ugly plastic thing. It looks like a tiny clarinet. If a pixie was playing that, I would die laughing.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of those like
a pan flute.
Yeah, like a pan flute.
No, this you play straight down like a clarinet. It's ugly. Like,
oh my gosh.
I don't know if I can find mine.
If you can't find it, then find a picture of yourself.
I have a tale of like getting in a fight with one, using one at school.
Oh, that'll be good.
That's the closest to a band story I
All right.
probably have.
But you have to find a photo of your brush with like rock and roll greatness.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I have that one.
If it exists.
We'll figure out something. It's gonna be a good time, you guys.
It'll be a good time, and we're gonna review which album? The one after Alive.
Oh gosh, I wanted to say Destroyer.
Is
but
it Destroyer?
I think it might be Destroyer.
I think it is Destroyer.
That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, you passed the test. So yeah, so come hang out with us. It's gonna be one. Taylor's pretty confident with 1 o'clock, but sometimes we go on at 2 o'clock. That's the usual time, and that's California time, so that's Pacific Standard.
So check all the social media. Make sure you're following this channel and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss out. And we got all of Art's social media links if you want to follow Twitter. We usually post right before we go on there.
Yes. Oh, and please, you guys, I want to start doing those reviews again. So send in your portfolios, and I think the MediaFire link is there. So send your portfolios, and we'll get back into the review channels.
And tell a friend. You guys, you got to know some artists. You guys are creative people.
Yeah.
Help them out.
Yeah, help us out, man.
And help them out so that they can get Art's expertise that could make all the difference in the world.
It can.
And it will.
And it will. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow for Kiss Corner.